welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. Joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Hi. I don't know. Every time I try to do it, every time we kick this thing off, I do a different thing. And I don't
Ready, steady, go!
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm here.
You ready to talk some Furiosa?
Yes.
You should have came in with a little Australian. I think that would have
I've burnt myself. I've burnt myself.
Well, it is what it is.
Can't quite do it.
Furiosa. You need to be a little toastier coming in, but then it's problematic because then halfway through the episode you're like, oh, I've gone too far this time. Now I can't string words together.
I have to go to bed.
It's a fine balance, it's all fine balance. Anyway, yes, we are here to talk about Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. We are, of course, following up our coverage of Mad Max Fury Road, which is very recent for us, I'll say, but hopefully is recent for people listening to this. Hopefully people had a chance to listen to that. We did it as a bonus episode to kind of separate talking about Fury Road out from this Furiosa episode, I think, so that we didn't have a super loaded, stuffed episode on Furiosa. As we said, Fury Road's that kind of movie that
just needs its own space.
You kind of want it. Yeah, it needed its own space to really give it its proper due and credit. So that's why we did things that way. So and it made things a little easier for me in terms of balancing our release schedule and stuff with personal lives and all that jazz. So I'm excited to continue the conversation, the Mad Max conversation with Furiosa, which of course made its way to theaters, I guess, probably a couple weeks ago now. So we're a little late to the party. We were also a little late to the party with the Fury Road episode. Admittedly, we're
not
tried
the most
to get
punctual,
it out. No, we're not. We're real bad. I mean, like I'm bad at that anyway. And then we just things get worse and worse because we always got stuff going on. You had some stuff going on in your life that prevented you from being more available. But
Baby B.
I was going to say, I don't want to steal your thunder. You're welcome to talk about this.
I now have a child that's been on the planet Earth for longer than 1 year.
Yeah, Baby B turned 1.
He turned
Crazy.
1. And not only
Where's
did
the time
Baby
go,
B
right?
turn... Oh, don't even get me started, dude. That's a whole other conversation. But not only did Baby B turn 1, but family began flying in at the beginning of like the week before Baby B's birthday. So like it was just,
a big deal.
Every day after work, I'm going somewhere other than home. And
you were busy. Busy.
Oh man, it was nuts. And then immediately after the actual birthday party, we turned around and went on a cruise for a week. So
that's right.
It's been busy.
Yeah.
It's definitely been busy.
And now it's kind of the calm after the storm, I guess, back to normal or so. So here we are. Now we've made it back into the respective man caves so that we can talk about these Mad Max movies. So Furiosa is where we are now. So very, very exciting. I would love to hear more about Baby Birthday and some cruise action maybe a little later in this episode if we can do that. But first, I'd like to give our listeners a fun fact about Furiosa and Mad Max Saga, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Lay it on me. What do you got?
All right. So, it's interesting. This is a movie that, when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, maybe this is something that could get people into hot water, but not really. And I'll tell you why. And the fact is, they used AI in the making of this movie.
What? No way. No, they did not.
Yeah, they sure did. They liberally used artificial intelligence in the making of this movie, and how they implemented that was in the character of Furiosa. The character of Furiosa, her face throughout the movie was made with a lot of artificial intelligence enhancement. And the reason for that is, for anyone that's seen the movie, and I think it's kind of relatively hidden from the marketing, at least as I recall, is that there are two actors who play the character of Furiosa in this movie, neither of which is Charlize Theron, to be clear. But there's a younger actress who plays a younger Furiosa, and then there's Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays the older Furiosa, but not quite as old as we see Furiosa in Fury Road. And so the idea that George Miller had was basically he wanted the transition from young Furiosa or younger Furiosa to young Furiosa to feel seamless. And so basically, I think what they did is they filmed a lot of stuff of these two I guess one. I was going to say two women, but I think
one's a girl.
Yeah. So I think they filmed a lot of footage of them and stuff, so they had all this reference stuff that they could feed into, I guess, this AI, and so that they could actually change the appearances of these women / girls throughout the movie, so that they look closer to each other, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's similar to like a de-aging kind of thing, but it's basically kind of matching their facial features between them. So Anya Taylor-Joy said in an interview that like around the beginning of the movie, about 35% of her appearance is on Lila Brown, who plays the younger Furiosa, and then kind of when it's closer in age, when there's more of the handoff, it's about 80%. So of her features kind of mapped onto the younger actress, which is kind of wild.
That is kind of wild.
And some of the other things I saw, and I think this is talking to someone that worked on the visual effects that, use the AI machine learning stuff, is they wanted to change eye shape to make them kind of match each other. And so there's stuff like that where they really just wanted to make it feel like these are the same person at different points of their lives, and it's not just changing. It's not like putting in contact lenses. It's totally kind of reworking someone's face to be so not quite one or the other, but somewhere in between, so that they kind of have a more effective blend. And so I mean, we could talk about whether it's effective or not, I guess, when we get to talking about the movie itself, but it's really, really interesting. And the reason I say the whole hot water thing is I feel like Late Night with the Devil and anything that like uses AI, it kind of gets into problematic territory. I think why it's avoiding the hot water here is because it sounds like everything that they fed into the AI software is stuff that they use themselves. And I think a lot of the AI concerns are, generating artwork that's using a bunch of stolen art, as part of the machine learning. So that really avoids it. They're just kind of using the technology itself as a tool to kind of, whether it's necessary or not. I mean, obviously, we've had plenty of movies where a young version of a character is played by someone totally different who looks kind of similar, but maybe doesn't quite obviously grow up and end up looking exactly the same. You have a little bit of a suspension of disbelief with a lot of these things.
Gone are the days.
But maybe you don't have to do it that way. If you're a George Miller type and you're ready to push the boundaries of what's possible, in terms of casting and de-aging and I guess making someone look a little older and stuff like that, then maybe AI is a tool that could be used effectively for that sort of thing. So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
I think it's pretty interesting as well. Good fun fact. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is not overly apparent in the movie, I guess, to at least touch on it right now, is I think that you could watch this movie and not think that girl's face looks real fucking weird in CG. And that's a good thing. That's a compliment. You know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, are you ready to talk some headlines? Obviously back to regular episode territory here. We got some headlines, some trailers, and then we'll be getting into Furiosa and stuff. So you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it. What do we got?
All right, number one on the headlines is some casting news regarding The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is, of course, the upcoming Star Wars film that is, I don't know, necessarily taking the place of Season 4 of The Mandalorian, but it's going to be the next entry of anything that we see The Mandalorian and Grogu in. And Sigourney Weaver has joined the cast, or is at least in talks to join the cast. Obviously, no stranger to sci-fi franchises between Alien and Avatar, and she would obviously join a cast that includes Pedro Pascal and a puppet. The puppet that plays Grogu will be back.
Oh, excellent.
Maybe they'll make a new puppet. They probably have a bigger budget for this than they have for a TV show.
Ooh, maybe they go CG. No puppet.
They could. Well, maybe a bit of both. Star Wars, modern Star Wars, you need a bit of both, right? To keep that kind of classic feel. If you go too far, then you have CG Yoda.
That's what I'm
right?
talking
and
about.
CG
Yeah,
Yoda
we go CG Yoda.
never looked quite as fun as Puppet Yoda, although Puppet Yoda in Episode 1 originally looked like dog shit too. So there's also a thing as bad puppets too. So anyway, what do you think? Sigourney Weaver joining the Star Wars
I like
universe.
Sigourney Weaver. I have no issues with that. So
all right,
good get.
Excited about The Mandalorian and Grogu?
Yeah.
Continuation of the story.
Give me a good story, man. The Mandalorian has really high highs and reasonable mids. know.
Right, I would say not
mids.
super low lows, like but it certainly has moments where it's not as impressive.
Yeah, So I don't.
But overall, pretty good. So all right, so we're expecting Mandalorian and Grogu to hit cinemas December of 2025. No, I'm sorry, it's been pushed to May of 2026. So we're looking about 2 years away for the Mandalorian and Grogu, which feels good. Feels like a good amount of time. So all right. So hey, we'll obviously be learning a lot more of that film in the next couple of years. So we'll leave it there. And we'll move on to the next piece of news, which is that Donnie Yen's going to star in a John Wick spin-off movie centered around his character Caine, who was an assassin that was introduced in John Wick Chapter 4, where obviously he was kind of up against John Wick himself, was an antagonist in that movie, but there was clearly like allusions to a history between those two characters and a rapport between those two characters, and obviously it was just circumstances that forced them to be on opposite sides of the conflict in that movie. So yeah, Donnie Yen's gonna headline a John Wick spinoff. Not the first John Wick spinoff we're getting, but Ballerina has not come out yet.
Okay,
I think it got delayed.
Did that fly completely over my head?
No, I think it got delayed to next year, and they put The Crow in its place, which hasn't come out yet either. But I know you're really looking forward to it, so no worries.
Okay.
The Crow has not come and gone yet in theaters, but yeah, what do you think? What do you think about another John Wick spinoff centered on Donnie Yen's character?
I thought his character was pretty cool in John Wick.
Blind badass. I feel like that's kind of a thing he's done in a couple different movies now. But hey, he's good at
it. He's being typecast, but that's okay. That's cool. And yeah, totally all about it. I mean, there's no reason to doubt any John.
Ip Man has a sight though, right? So that he's not just doing that again either,
right? Yeah, no, Ip Man, he definitely has sight in Ip Man. It's just the Star Wars guy and
Star Wars guy and John Wick.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just the two, but it's still more than one, which makes it odd.
Yeah, well, I have no reason to doubt John Wick. I never watched The Continental though. Did you ever watch The Continental?
I didn't, and I don't know that it was supposed to be anything special.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it felt so kind of really disconnected because he didn't even have cast crossover or anything like that. It was it was a young Winston, but some other fucking
cash grab.
They didn't even de-age Ian McShane with AI, and they could have done that, but they didn't do that. So I don't know. Mel Gibson's involvement. I mean, speaking of Mad Max and stuff, like. If you're willingly choosing to put Mel Gibson in your stuff now, like you got to handle the blowback of that and like be understanding of the fact that people are going to be like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you willingly do that? Unless the man has blackmailed you with something, why would you do that? And it's like, all right. Because he's like making his own movies and shit. And it's like, hey, you want to sign up and be in a Mel Gibson movie? Like that's on you. It is what it is. But to like turn around and cast him in something, I don't know. It's a little weird. But no, anyway, I did not watch The Continental, and I don't know that I ever will. But it's out there, continuing the John Wickiverse or whatever. So, but I'm in on this. I think just to talk on that. And,
yeah.
Donnie Yen's like he's a cool guy. And I feel like this could be like a really cool movie. And I don't know if they're going to make it a prequel, or if they're going to make it following the events of Chapter 4, like how they're going to do that. But I think that they could go either way and make it work. So, yeah. So I'm in on this. So it sounds like you are as well. So
absolutely.
Again, I'm sure we'll be getting more details on that before long. Now, this next headline I am very, very excited to talk about because we're finally getting some details on the Knives Out and Glass Onion follow-up, the third movie in the Knives Out sort of trilogy, which I think is the second of the movies that Netflix bought the rights for $500 million or whatever it was. And the so writer, director Rian Johnson has announced that the film is going to be called Wake Up, Dead Man.
Okay.
It will have the subtitle A Knives Out Mystery because they, of course, stuck that on the end of Glass Onion, and everyone's like, no, just call it a Benoit Blanc mystery. Why are we doing this? Stop. Just please don't do that. But anyway, it's still there for now. They're at least consistent. If they had changed it for the third one, I would have been more mad,
it's true.
To be honest. So,
absolutely. They're committing.
So yeah, he's coming back with another whodunit, of course, marking the return of Daniel Craig as Detective Benoit Blanc. But we're getting some casting announcements, a lot of casting announcements, and we're seeing this, it's like this, the Poirot movies, all of these, like, they're like a whodunit thing, and the one through line that they always are going to have, regardless of setting the characters, is stacked fucking cast.
Yeah.
And these movies obviously have been no exception. The original Knives Out was insane. Glass Onion was more of that. And it would appear that Wake Up Dead Man is certainly following in the footsteps of the great casts that we saw with those movies. So I'm going to run down the line. Are you ready?
Yeah, do it. Let's see, what do we got?
All right. So joining Daniel Craig are Josh O'Connor, who was the young Prince Charles in The Crown, and was also more recently one of the leads in Challengers. We will also be getting Kaylee Spaney, who was recently in Civil War as the young photojournalist.
Oh, okay.
The footsteps of Kirsten Dunst's character. Okay. Also played Priscilla, I think, in last year's Priscilla movie. And we're going to get Andrew Scott, who's from All of Us Strangers and Fleabag, and I think Sherlock back in the day.
And Sherlock, yeah.
I think
he's
it was
pretty talented dude. I like him.
Yep. Great actor. Also on the Netflix series Ripley right now, for anyone watching that. Kerry Washington's also in the cast. Scandal star Kerry Washington. Glenn Close is going to be part of the cast. Glenn Close is here. This one's awesome. And it's good. It's legitimately heartwarming. Jeremy Renner. Our boy Jeremy's in it.
Oh, no,
which is
man.
really nice. Nice to see him, obviously.
Full recovery.
Making movies, now that he's, he was halfway to hell and now has clawed his way back to mortal coil. It is legitimately heartwarming to see, like, Jeremy Renner, corny ass fucking dude, his music, his app and shit. Like, it kind of, he's kind of a caricature, I think. But I always liked him at the same time.
Yeah.
Almost for those qualities. And so it's really nice to see him obviously well enough to be able to make an appearance in this. The question for me is he just going to be playing himself? Because I don't know if you remember this, but Glass Onion features a plot point where there's a hot sauce, and it's Jeremy Renner's hot sauce.
Oh, it is. You're right.
So how's that going to work? Is he just I hope he's
got to be coming in to be playing himself.
That would be amazing. I hope that's
leave
the
case. It to Rian fucking Johnson, dude. What a guy.
I think that would be great. All right, who else we got? We got Mila Kunis as well. When she's not writing letters in support of rapists, she's going to appear in this movie. So there's that. Ashton did it too, so it's fine. Daryl McCormick, who
she wrote a letter to fit in the fucking curly-haired guy?
Yeah. Well, because there was a lot of people that did that thinking, well, this surely there's no, because it was like a letter to the judge, for like expressing, like hoping for leniency and sentencing and stuff, and all that shit got.
But they didn't deny. They weren't trying to deny that he raped somebody. They were just
they're just like, he didn't rape me, so he's a really good guy, I think.
One of those deals. Okay.
Yeah. Like, we're really good friends, and so we really, we think that this isn't reflective of who he is, and it's like, well, I mean, I think that it is, I think that it is actually. So they did some weird apology video after that, and everyone's just like, no, that's not. You're not genuine about that. You're just sad your buddy got caught. At the end of the day, so. Yeah, not great. Who else? Josh Brolin's in this. Josh Brolin is in it.
Josh fucking Brolin?
It's not in this article, but I think Thomas Hayden Church joined as well. I feel like I saw that as a headline as well. So I think that's it. I think those are the names we got so far. There were rumors that Tom Hardy himself might be in it, but it doesn't seem like that is happening thus far. I feel like we would have heard that. So maybe was in negotiations, or it was just a rumor. I don't know. But what do you think? Wake Up Dead Man, does that cast impress you? Does it feel like it stacks up to the others that we've seen?
Yes, so far.
I think there might be more to come. Yeah.
Oh, there's undoubtedly more to come. There's going to be a whole lot more.
So who did it? Who done it?
Out of these people,
based on the cast,
Andrew Scott's a guilty fuck. If you look at his,
Andrew Scott feels like the most obvious choice, so it can't be him. Is how I feel about it. It's too obvious,
But he's probably going to be the one that's dies or something, like right in the.
He's going to be the red herring, though. Yeah. People are going to suspect him, but it's not actually him. So I think Jeremy Renner playing himself, and he fucking did it. That's my bold prediction right now.
I love these movies. Oh man, I'm excited.
Great fun.
Do we have a release date on this, or did you already say?
I did not say, and I don't know if we have a release date, but my early speculation would be probably either late next year. It looks like 2025, but I don't know if we have a specific date beyond.
Probably
that,
November. Probably another
because I don't think they've started filming just yet, but probably pretty soon. And I don't think the turnaround time for a movie like this is super, super long. So I would say sometime next year.
Fabulous.
Mid to late next year would be my speculation, but I'm sure we'll know at some point.
Among some of the funnest movies to watch for sure.
Absolutely, just a blast. So very, very exciting. And that's Wake Up Dead Man. So we'll touch back with it if we have more casting and stuff, but we'll leave it there for now.
Right.
Next up, on the headlines front, we haven't talked about this at all, but Paramount has been trying to work out deals to merge with some other company. I don't know if you've been following any of this or seeing any of this. And I kind of was trying to do a little bit of digging. I think basically Paramount is struggling financially, and I think they're in a position where a merger would kind of help rescue them out of the financial, peril that they're kind of in right now. So remarkable. there were talks that maybe Sony made an offer to try to buy Paramount or merge, however that would kind of end up being. But I don't think that really ever came into fruition. And right now, the latest that we're hearing is that Paramount and Skydance, company Skydance, have agreed to terms of a merger. Which has not been finalized yet. I think basically the parties that be at Paramount have not signed off on the deal just yet. Like the shareholders haven't signed off on it just yet. So there's no guarantee that it fully goes through. But that's kind of the latest on it. And I don't. Skydance. I feel like you've probably seen the logo and stuff.
Oh yeah, Skydance
Tom Cruise movies.
Sunshine.
Okay. Yeah. I think. Recently, I'm trying to look quickly, see if kind of think that they did the Mission Impossible movie, recent movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Fucking Maverick. Movies. That's why they can afford
Top Gun Maverick.
They did Maverick.
Yeah. So Skydance has worked on a good amount of stuff recently. That's obviously hit pretty big and done well. So it looks like most of the Mission Impossible movies, basically Jack Reacher, Star Trek movies, stuff like that. So, a fairly recognizable company. Kind of interesting. I don't know, Paramount obviously is like a golden
staple.
Child, like a staple of Hollywood. So it's kind of a crazy thing to think about a future without
it's like
Paramount.
When MGM got
maybe
bought
we said
out.
the same thing about Fox as well at a certain point too. So, it's
nothing stays forever.
The times they are changing, I guess. That's kind of what it is. But figured we'd step in on, or check in on that, talk about it since we haven't really mentioned anything on it. I don't really know what the future would look like. What does this mean in terms of a merger? Like, does that change Paramount fundamentally in any sort of way, other than obviously people probably getting fired as a result of a merger and stuff like that? But in terms of just the output from them as a studio, what does that look like as a part of a deal like this?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. So it's kind of interesting, but that's what's going on.
I think it's interesting that Skydance is owned by David Ellison. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is Larry Ellison's son, I think his name is, right?
Yes,
the guy that
correct.
makes Adobe, not Adobe. He makes what is it? Flash. He made what company makes Flash?
Oracle. Right?
Yeah. Okay, it's Oracle. Yeah, he's the CEO of Oracle. So,
yeah. So we got a nepo baby, who's got lots of money to play with because of daddy that made a film studio.
His dad's worth $156
production
billion.
company.
So
he's doing all right. So so that's why Skydance has the cash flow. And I do think they've been legitimately probably successful in their own right.
Of course,
but I think that they probably had a healthy amount of cash infused at the start to keep them going. So exactly.
So I thought that was interesting. I never knew that. Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
I am in the same camp though. I it's remarkable that Paramount's struggling and going under. It's remarkable that
I know, right?
MGM
it just I don't know if it's. I was really trying to dig into all right, well, what's going on here? Is it just their movies aren't hitting big enough? Are they spending too much money and not getting enough money back? Was Paramount Plus a spectacular failure that they lost billions of dollars on because most of these streaming services have just been big, not even loss leaders, just fucking losses? I don't know.
They probably got probably got hit fucking hard. During COVID.
COVID wreaked havoc on a lot of these places. Yeah, that's probably true. Definitely,
they were overextended already, and then just fucking crippled because you can't go to see a movie for 2 years. What the fuck do you do for 2 years? You probably crippled under your own weight, you know?
Yeah. So I guess, that absolutely could be it. Obviously, COVID did a lot of companies, restaurants, places in, as a result of the lack of traffic and stuff. So.
The people that were already competing, so your Netflixes, your Amazon Primes, your really successful streaming platforms, they just fucking finished the blow, They grew successful while you struggled and failed. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's that.
All right. That's that. All right. So a couple more headlines. Some DC related news next. We've got a release date for the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow film. June 26th, 2026 is when we're getting that. So that one's just a bit over 2 years away. So 2026, we're getting Mando and Grogu. Now we're getting Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. About a month apart from each other. Not too bad. That is, of course, starring Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon as Supergirl. Okay. I don't know if we talked about it, but they announced that Craig Gillespie is going to be directing this film. He did movies in the past like Cruella a few years ago. I, Tonya prior to that, $1 Million Arm. And last year he did the Dumb Money, the GameStop movie, which I never saw.
To be pretty good, right?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so that's what's going on with that in terms of directing and release date and stuff. So I think that'll be the second feature film in the new James Gunn led DCU. Obviously, we're getting Superman first next year, and then Supergirl after that, and some TV shows obviously kind of interspersed throughout as well. So. One of those TV shows is going to be Lanterns, which is a Green Lantern TV show, which will star, I think, multiple Green Lanterns.
That's good. That's a good medium for
I don't know if they've said specifically which Lanterns, but it's probably Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart would be my guess, just based on what makes the most sense. But we've learned that the writing team on that series is going to include Damon Lindelof, Chris Mundy, and Tom King. So Tom King is a DC Comics writer, who I think has been involved with some of the other DCU stuff thus far. Chris Mundy, I'm looking up real quick because I'm not super familiar with his work. I think he might be a just kind of like staff TV writer principally. Looks like in terms of writing credits, he worked on... I don't know what he worked on. Ozark looks like. I think. Okay, here we go. He was, I think, one of the lead writers on Ozark, which is the Netflix Jason Bateman show, and probably some other things that IMDb really wants to tell me about. Here we go. Ozark, Bloodline, the new True Detective. He wrote a couple episodes on. And then prior to that, it looks like he was more of a staff writer for like procedural type shows, Criminal Minds, stuff like that. But Damon Lindelof, I think, might be the most intriguing name in the bunch because you may recognize him probably for you most principally as he was the showrunner and I think a writer on the Watchmen HBO series 2019.
Yeah, okay.
He wrote 8 episodes on it, was the showrunner, I think produced 9 episodes. Also over on HBO, he worked on a show called The Leftovers, which is supposed to be pretty good. And then something that Anna can attest to that I can't is he was a big writer on Lost back in the day.
Oh.
Yeah, so
big name.
which, big name. Wrote on some movies too. Cowboys and Aliens, Prometheus, Star Trek Into Darkness, World War Z. Those are less impressive. His TV show resume is a little better, but yeah, there you go. That's your writing team on Lanterns. So between Supergirl and Lanterns, any thoughts on those two particular projects? Giving us news?
I think I'm probably most intrigued by Lanterns.
Because we have not seen a good Green Lantern in live action.
No, and Green Lantern's such a cool character. You know what I mean?
Totally. And you get multiple Green Lanterns.
Yeah, so it's cool. Maybe it's like a transition from one Lantern to another. And it's like him like fostering the, Lantern.
Could be, or it could just be like a cop show kind of thing where you have multiple lanterns on the force.
I thought you only had one like protector. Isn't that the thing? Like that's the protector of the world?
Think
or whatever?
Each sort of. I think there's like territories. So like you have a lantern that's assigned to protect Earth, and you have a lantern that's assigned to protect some other part of the universe. So there's the Green Lantern Corps. So there's a bunch of Green Lanterns running around. They're just kind of assigned to protect different places. But for universe level, global level threats, they can team up and do things.
Okay.
So, generally, I think that's kind of how it works. So
I'm excited.
So
about
this might be like this could be a fully based in space show, not Earthbound sort of thing, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. This is a good get. I mean, don't get me wrong. Millie Alcock.
I'm excited about Supergirl too. And, so yeah,
but this seems like something fresh and something kind of like out of the corner. So I don't know. Seems cool. Yeah, plus the art's cool on Deadline. So
yeah, there you go. Sometimes it's as simple as that, right? All right, well, there you go. So there's some DC stuff for everyone. And then last but not least, oh boy, our boy Dementis, Chris Hemsworth.
What was his last name? Dementis, fuck.
Oh, does he have a last name? I didn't realize he had a last name in fucking Furiosa. Oh, shit. All right, I got to look it up now before we get distracted even further. Dementis. I don't know if he had a last name. I didn't think he did, but it's not listed on Wikipedia.
No, it's not.
Dementis Hemsworth, maybe. But,
yeah. Maybe I was thinking of the Erectus.
Oh yeah, Rictus Erectus. Dementis Erectus. They're actually
there we go.
Related. Brothers from another mother. Now Chris Hemsworth is in talks to lead a G.I. Joe / Transformers crossover movie for Paramount and Hasbro. That's what Paramount's up to. They have the cash infusions from Hasbro to make these Transformers and G.I. Joe movies. So this was actually teased at the end of Rise of the Beasts. I know you didn't see it and you really missed out, but they teased this idea of doing a G.I. Joe Transformers thing together, bringing these great storied franchises together. Obviously, it's kind of interesting because Chris Hemsworth is also in that animated Transformers one that we talked about probably a couple episodes ago, where he's playing Optimus. He's voicing Optimus Prime. So my guess is this is not him playing Optimus Prime in a live action. I assume it's Chris Hemsworth playing Chris Hemsworth. Maybe they'll give him a fake nose for this one too. We'll see.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, what do you think? Hemsworth, the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover, you think could work? Does it intrigue you, interest you? What do you think?
I think, Chris Hemsworth's just got like the most blockbuster kind of career, He's great. He's doing great. Yeah, I mean, G.I. Joe has been shit. Transformers has been hit or miss.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Mostly miss, but there is a Bumblebee out there that shows that you can do it right.
Maybe this is how G.I. Joe kicks off their new G.I. Joe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, G.I. Joe needs like a resurgence, and like
G.I. Joe could be legitimately fucking awesome, dude. G.I. Joe could be cool.
It has not been so far, but it could be.
It could be. So anyways, I'm hopeful for G.I. Joe. So I'm going to say I'm excited for a brand new restart, like a transition from Transformers, and then like they go full speed ahead. No more Transformers. We're done with Transformers. Full speed ahead into G.I. Joe from Transformers. You know what I mean?
They could.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Make another Snake Eyes movie. Remember that they made that one?
It
was
did?
Really good.
Yeah, fucking Assassins really and Snake Eyes and Team Cobra or whatever they're called,
Cobra Commander.
Cobra Commander. That's it. It's fucking cool.
Well, that's just a character. It's probably. I think Cobra is maybe the organization. Not 100% sure.
Cobra Commander is the lead guy, I think.
Yeah, he's the lead guy. He's the guy. Yeah. Hey, it could be cool. It could be cool. Both of these are franchises that were very popular. Obviously, when they kind of broke onto the scene for a reason. So there's a way that this works. There's a way that it works. So. We'll see what they do with it. See if they make it what it could be. But Chris Hemsworth is a pretty good lead to hang your hat on, I think. So excited about that. And I'm excited to talk about some trailers. You ready to talk about some trailers?
Yeah, let's talk about trailers.
I'm going to start with the weirdest fucking trailer you might have seen in a good while for a movie called Megalopolis.
Yeah, we can start with that weird fucking trailer.
So this is a epic science fiction drama written, directed, and produced by Francis Ford Coppola with a large ensemble cast consisting of Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Natalie Emmanuel, Aubrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, Jon Voight, Lawrence Fishburne, and the list goes on. There's a lot more in this, so I'll stop there for now. It's a weird fucking movie, like mostly self-financed by Coppola because he couldn't really get people to like I think he pitched people and like they were like, no, we're not giving you money to make that movie. So he just put up his own money, and I think he's still struggling to find someone to even fucking release it. So
it's that nice.
So I think he literally, as of recording, has not found a company to agree to distribute it in the United States. I think someone like agreed to release it in France or something like that.
Jesus.
But we got a teaser trailer for it, and it looks fucking bonkers. And Obi was being a little nuts. He was running around playing balloon, bopping it around while we were watching the trailer, so I couldn't hear some of the dialogue. But I said to Anna after I watched it, I was like, I couldn't hear half the dialogue, but I'm not sure it would have made a difference if I could.
It wouldn't have. No.
So
it's.
So what are you thinking?
The dialogue over the trailer seems like complete nonsense. Like it just like what the fuck are you? What are you on about? What are you on about?
Yeah.
There's a sequence right in the beginning when these like meteors or something's falling to space, and there's these there's a skyscraper, and then like it's just I sell fucking cars, right? But if the light's coming from the meteor overhead, the people standing in the streets are not going to throw a shadow the size of a skyscraper on the skyscraper. You know what I mean? It's like that's not the way lights work.
Well, maybe these are weird meteors.
I don't know, dude.
That have they break lighting properties.
Look fucking bad. It looks bad. Is what I'll say. It looks fucking bad.
It looks fucking bonkers. But it's like, is this like I feel like the moving statues and stuff looks kind of neat. But then that was probably the only thing in this movie or this trailer where I'm like, oh, that was cool, and everything else is like, yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't know about that. I don't know.
Like the fall of America, as that what it's about?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
It seems like attempts at being. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It just fucking.
I don't know either.
Just fucking bonkers, dude.
It's Megalopolis, a fable.
A fable, right? It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is like Francis Ford Coppola is like dude's like 80. Like, let me fact check that. He's 85.
It's like
and it's like he's like Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, you let him go too far. Like these old fucks. Like enough is enough at a certain point.
Just produce the things. You've got money. Just throw it towards people that are
Like I respect the one side of it where it's just like, hey, no one wants to make this movie for me, and I have this very specific thing I want to make. I'm gonna fucking make it, and like that's kind of cool. But like, I don't know, man. Maybe there's a reason everyone said no, and no one wants to distribute it because they look at this. I read online, and I don't know how the hell they'll do this if they ever do actually distribute this movie. Is that like because they screened it at Cannes, I think, is that there's a portion of the movie where Adam Driver like sort of breaks the fourth wall and starts talking to someone, and the way they did it at Cannes was that they had someone that like went up and interacted with Adam Driver, like in the auditorium. Correct. Like, what are you going to have some fucking 16-year-old working at Regal, like popping up and like I mean, come on, So like obviously that like shit like that is not going to work if you did it. Like obviously you could just film a scene and intersperse it and make it work, but like just fucking what? Just what? So I know we've been on this a while, but like, what the fuck is this movie? Is kind of my general feel about it, and I have to say I am intrigued, but it doesn't look good either. So I don't know.
It's got an excellent cast.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I mean, there's some there's some choices in the cast, and I'm like, oh, you're going with Shia LaBeouf and Jon Voight. All right, well,
that's pretty. Old's gonna old, I guess. Cool, man, Nothing wrong with Shia LaBeouf,
No,
Nothing wrong with Jon
Voight. He's a piece of shit, but he's also a racist asshole. But,
is he? Well, I don't know about all that.
They've got some problematic people
he was
in this, and
Mission
it's like
Impossible.
He was. That's true. So it's kind of just like, all right. I mean, these are some choices that you're making, obviously, but this whole movie is just a series of choices, though. So it's almost par for the course, I guess, at the same time as well. Oh shit!
So. Is that Shia LaBeouf with no eyebrows in the car?
I think it is. I saw. I was like,
seconds.
When I watched this trailer, I was like, "Is that Shia?" And then his name popped up in the big old name list at the end. So
that is Shia LaBeouf. No,
I think it
mullet
is.
no eyebrows.
Yeah. Good. Great. Love it. So anyway, Batshit. Fucking bonkers. Who knows if it'll come out, right? It might come out, might not. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. But it's interesting. It is interesting, is it not? All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Got any other thoughts? Wicked. Official trailer for Wicked. We got the Super Bowl TV spot, obviously, a couple months ago. Now we got a full official trailer, a really long fucking trailer, I'll tell you that. And a lot more footage. We hear some songs. We don't see anyone singing. Can't, because we have to pretend it's not a musical, even though guess what, it's definitely a musical. And it's well, what do you think? Let me just ask you. What do you think about Wicked?
I've never seen Wicked. I see the
right. You don't have the
I see the rails of a good
musical.
I see the rails of a compelling story, a good story. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, a little Wizard of Oz prequel sort of thing.
But I also see what's on the screen.
In this trailer.
I see what's present on in front of me, and I don't know, dude. I do know. This also looks fucking bad.
All right.
Which
one looks more interesting? Are you seeing Megalopolis or Wicked first? If you had to, gun to your head, what are you choosing?
How long? Megalopolis looks like it's going to be a long movie.
Look at the runtime, right? Yeah, see if that
Megalopolis looks like a 4-hour fucking.
It could be. I mean, we had a screening that was
4-hour
so we should know
with teenagers.
It looks like the Caine one was only 138 minutes. It was just a bit over 2 hours.
That's not bad. That's pretty.
Well, and the good news is that Wicked, even though they don't tell you this, is just part 1 of 2. So they're hiding that. They're hiding that fact from you as well. So this is probably a movie that doesn't actually have a full ending. So.
I'd probably see the Wizard of Oz doesn't look good, but I imagine the music's probably okay, right? Like
music could be good. I mean, the music itself is good. It's we're going to be getting new renditions with the new cast and stuff. Obviously,
I do like the Wizard of Oz.
Sure, me too. Yeah.
So maybe this is like a situation where everything looks bad and the marketing kind of sucks, but maybe
the music can carry it.
Yeah, maybe the music and the story can carry it. So probably Wizard of Oz before Megalopolis. Unless you see Megalopolis and say, you got to see this shit, it's wild. And then I'm like, okay.
This is the weirdest movie I've ever seen. I mean, I'm surprised. I feel like sometimes you go for the weirder, more artsy shit, but, sometimes that also just means it's really bad. So I guess that's fair.
I mean, there's an artsy movie we're going to talk about in these trailers.
And maybe that one's good.
Right. But Megalopolis.
Or at least looks good, as opposed to a Megalopolis, yeah. I mean, for me, Wicked, like, obviously I have fondness for the musical. I think the biggest issue with this, which is the issue I've had since they announced it, and the issue I had with that TV spot that we got, and now the issue I've had with this fucking way too long trailer, is I think the casting is for the 2 leads particularly is really bad, and neither of them, like Ariana Grande, I don't know what the fuck she's doing with her. Like, I mean, presumably she didn't decide how to look in this movie. Someone decided that for her, but she probably chose the voice that she was going with, and I don't know why the fuck she chose that. And
same reason Tom Hardy chooses his voices.
Yeah, my motorcycle. It's like, yeah, because people won't tell them fucking no, and like directors need to learn how to say no. Like no, that's fucking. You're an actor. You're committed to your craft, but you sound like a fucking moron, and I'm not going to listen to you for 2 movies sounding like this.
Hey, Brox.
Yeah, it's just and then Cynthia Erivo. I just don't think she's a good fit for Elphaba, and I think that to your point of the music maybe carrying this is like. I know what the music is supposed to sound like, and I'm hearing the versions in this, and let me tell you, they don't sound good.
Okay,
Megalopolis
it is.
They sound like worse versions of good ones that existed in the first place. So it's like, to me, this is striking out in many ways. Of visually, just looks like CG nonsense. Cast doesn't really intrigue me. I mean, I like Jeff Goldblum. I like that side of things.
You like that one person, right?
Yeah. Other than that, I'm like, there's nothing in this that excites me or thrills me or makes me think, oh yeah,
it's got apes.
Yeah, this could be something. It's got apes, but we just saw apes, and they were probably better in Kingdom, and definitely better in the Caesar trilogy. So I just this really has nothing going for me, and maybe it'll be good. and maybe people will like it, and maybe
I
people will like get, like be like, oh yeah, this has turned me on to Wicked, which is something I haven't had an opportunity to see, and like I do like the music in this a lot, and hopefully those people will listen to the original Broadway cast recording and be like, oh yeah, it's much better when you have people that are better singers, that are more suited for their vocal ranges to actually be singing these songs in the right way. Maybe they'll get they'll kind of hit that realization, but it sucks. I think there's a way to make a good Wicked movie, and I am, based on this 3.5 minutes plus the footage that we got in the TV spot, I am not seeing it happening in front of me, and I think that's obviously a bit disappointing, and just not ideal. So Wicked is coming later this year, November 26th. We're beginning
Megalopolis.
We don't know. It has to have distribution at some point.
Oh, fuck.
I'm sorry. That was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is when part 1 is coming out, and then part 2 is next year, November of next year. So they're doing them a year apart. They're not spacing them out too far.
That's got to be horseshit, right? Like Wicked's not that long, is it? They couldn't do a...
No, it's probably 3 hours with an intermission. So you could probably do a 2.5 hour movie. Yeah. And again, this is something Anna said after watching the trailers. It's like, all right, if you're going to make it 2 movies, then it should be 2 90-minute movies. And it's like, it's not going to be that. It's going to be 2+ hour movies, because they're going to add shit in there unnecessarily. They're going to Lion King it. They're going to take, a classic 90-minute animated movie and add fucking 30 minutes of tumbleweeds for no goddamn reason and make it fucking 10 times more boring. And you're going to end up with what you have on screen. And it's like, why? What are we doing here?
That's what we're going to get. That's what we're doing. Yeah. And we haven't seen a good, we haven't seen a good sci-fi movie that could be complete shit in a long time. I think the last time was Lettuce People and
Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, that was the last one that was really fucking bad, That
this
could
has
have been
potential.
Cool. That could have been cool, But,
yeah, this has the potential to be good. But it does. It looks a little wrinkle and timey. It does a little bit. Maybe not quite that bad, but it could be knocking on the door.
It could be.
It could be that bad.
But it could be awesome. I don't want Godfather's.
It
really
could be.
Good.
It could go either way. But probably steering more in Wrinkle of Time territory for me, personally, from what I'm seeing thus far.
I have a thing that I'm real excited about.
Talk to me. Tell me about it. What is it?
HBO Max's Dune Prophecy.
Oh, yes. Okay. So
I come to you with a suit, a briefcase. I'm looking right. I'm looking tight. And you're an HBO executive. Okay? And I come to you and I say, Colton.
Yes.
Movie of the year.
Mr. Brown to you.
Dune. Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown. No, I say Colton because I'm trying to be personal.
You're like,
I know you,
right.
Colton.
Sure.
Game of Thrones in space with everything Dune.
Oh, but when you make a teaser, can you do DUN?
Yeah, completely ruin. I kind of ruined the fucking logo treatment, a little bit. I kind of ruin it. But I have a game. I have an Iron Throne with a woman in the dressed all in. She's a Bene Gesserit, so she's all dressed in black. And I put her on this Iron Throne. Sure. She's barking out the orders, and the ladyhood comes first, and it's all really fucking cool because it's all Dune.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Can I get some money?
Sure. What are you going to call this proposed television series? This program?
Well, Dune.
Ah.
Dune. I can say it like
Dune. Well, yeah. Is there a way that we can get Christopher Walken in this? Because that sounds really good.
Prophecy.
That's pretty good. All right. I mean, I'm sold.
Sounds pretty good, right? It. Yeah.
And so you turned around and made it, and we have a teaser for it now, which is great.
And let me tell you something. They nailed it. They fucking nailed it. I see what they're going for. I think it's evident the kind of trajectory that they're trying to lay for themselves.
Sure.
But it fucking works. So why not lean into it? You've nailed a fantasy, political drama before, right? Let's, instead of making it high fantasy with dragons and shit, let's make it sci-fi fantasy with the Bene Gesserit and Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really lay into like the tapestries of like the espionage and like the darker areas, not the so like someone bring me my wine before I piss myself kind of guy. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more nuanced.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think they could probably nail it, but HBO, don't you fuck with Dune, okay? Get it right, do it right. Don't fuck with it. If season 1's no good, make sure it ends on an okay note and move on. Okay, we don't need you to do 6 seasons and then really fucking torpedo it into the earth. I'd prefer you not fuck with Dune and ruin it. But judging from this teaser, I'd say I'm very, very, very excited. So
okay, yeah, I mean, I think it seems to be kind of visually in the right space of where you'd want a Dune series to be.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it, I think, which is, if it isn't wholly successful, is it's so far apart in terms of the timeline that it kind of doesn't really, like, it obviously is really just about, in terms of how it affects the Dune movies, the Denis Villeneuve ones, it's just kind of adding a little bit to the lore of like the Bene Gesserit and whatever that could tie into it.
The thing, right?
But the actual characters, moment to moment stuff, like it's got it can really do anything with that.
Got the tall bald guy in it. I really like him.
It's got Mark Strong in it. Mark Strong.
Yeah, fucking Mark Strong. Who is he in our Conan? He's bald. But he's not. Oh pale.
No, he's Emperor Carino. He's the precursor to Christopher Walken. He's Christopher Walken's great
1,000 years. Can you go back 1,000 years?
Great to the 19th power. Yeah. Grandfather. So yeah, but we're getting some Harkonnens. I think the 2 leads are like Harkonnen sisters and stuff like that. So like there's clearly familial connections, obviously, to the and apparently there's some sort of Atreides character in this as well. So like, these families have been around for a long fucking time, 10,000 years at least. Christ. So it's pretty wild. And good thing they didn't lose the name. They kept it passed down. So I mean, it looks interesting. And a Dune series that, like I said, it's just building the lore, has the space to kind of make, be its own thing and not just have to rely heavily on, the greatness of those 2 Dune movies. Like it could totally work. I think visually it looks like it's there. And, the story seems like it could be interesting as well. So, we're getting it this fall is what it looks like. I don't think there's any release date yet,
good.
But
it's close.
But it could work. And I think it looks good so far. So I'm in. Sounds like you're in on Dune Prophecy as well.
Yes.
All right. I think you might be in on the next trailer as well, because I think it might be something you talked about a little bit of, a little bit out there Megalopolis style, but hey, maybe good, right?
I kind of feel guilty kind of putting it in the same thing.
Comparing them. Yeah. Well, they are different from each other, certainly. But again, maybe the similarity is maybe sort of non-traditional types of films, right? Maybe that's kind of the idea. So Longlegs is coming from Neon, who obviously put out some weird things here and there. July 12th is when this is coming out. And it's
Neon is horror, of the Parasite vein, right? They did Parasite. They did
correct.
I think they did that one Future Assassin movie thing that was really fucking out there. Or was that A24? I can't remember.
Well, I mean, they're kind of in the same boat, though.
They are.
So I actually don't. Right. I don't know. Like, it could have been H24, but like, it also could have been Neon, and you wouldn't be faulted for thinking that either way. So I'm not sure, but Possessor. They did Possessor. It looks like
Possessor's the one I was thinking of.
Is that what? Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. And more recently, they did Ferrari last year. Anatomy of a Fall was Neon. Triangle of Sadness was Neon.
Oh, that was a good one too.
So they've done some good stuff. So Longlegs, horror thriller. Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage, although we don't really see a lot of them. She's an FBI agent assigned to solve the case of a serial killer, and this movie looks fucking weird. Changing a lot of the aspect ratios, the way that it's shot is just
the cinematography is chilling, dude. Yeah, it's so good.
Absolutely. It looks fucking interesting. I'll say that. If you're picking, between this and Megalopolis, you're probably picking this one. Is that
hands down. There's no question. Okay.
All right, so what's sticking out about this one to you?
Cinematography looks incredible. Right. I'm gonna end up looking up who the cinematographer is. but there's like a lot of over the top shots with like looking through documents and whatnot. But then there's a lot of fixed camera angle shots of like in houses and whatnot, with like kind of like long throw depth of field. It just looks really, 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 really good. It looks creepy as fuck too. I watched the trailer in the dark in the man cave. I'm here by myself. Sarah's going. She's away, and I had to look over my shoulder. I felt creeped out. I'd make sure the door was closed. We talk about the potential of. I talk about the potential of bad marketing with the Wizard of Oz, Wicked.
Right. Yeah.
This is.
Not that.
Very, very, very
this
incredible
is good marketing.
Right.
Yes.
I like the really quick shots in this trailer, like the quick cuts.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Very chilling trailer. Very creepy. I'm getting like a mix between like Red Dragon and Zodiac, and I don't know. Just I'm really excited about a FBI like crime thriller.
Yeah. No, I mean.
Oh, I also get vibes of a like season 1 True Detective.
True Detective, yeah, absolutely, definitely.
And so, yeah, I could not be more excited about this movie. And then you see Nicolas Cage in there at the end, which is like, what?
Yeah, he's not in it a lot. You kind of hear him more than you see him, but I think that's a good effective marketing, is like putting his name more at the end is like. It hooks you a little bit, like, all right, I'm fucking intrigued by that. Cinematographer is Andres Arochi, who's a Mexican cinematographer, and it looks like he has mostly done music videos and shorts in the past few years. I think he's like a younger guy, so it looks like he has 3 movies listed upcoming, and this is one of them in terms of cinematographers. I haven't heard of the other 2, so...
I think he has a bright career.
Could be, yeah. Well, I think it looks very good. I'm very intrigued by it, very interested by it, and I think come July 12th, I could find myself in the theater watching Longlegs.
I think I know what we're covering right there around.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, how about the next one? Another sort of artsy movie. The next Yorgos Lanthimos film following Poor Things. This one's called Kinds of Kindness. We got an official trailer for it. June 21st, so this is just a couple weeks away. Great cast in this one as well. Emma/Emily Stone, depending on how close you are with her, if you know her by her real name that she wants to be called. But also Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley, Hong Chow. I think maybe some others that I'm missing, but pretty zippy little trailer here. Well, stylish, well edited. Did this do anything for you? Did this intrigue you?
So the Yorgos train is a train that I have not hopped on yet. I can't say that I've seen any of his movies.
Okay, all right.
I know that he's been widely celebrated for his last one.
Yeah, Poor Things. Obviously, I think some Oscar wins.
I think he's been widely celebrated for a lot of his movies, actually.
Well, I think the favorite prior to that was one that definitely I think that's what really broke him onto the scene in a big way. And then Poor Things was I think looks like his next
another successful one, right?
And like I think the first one I saw was The Lobster, the Colin Farrell one, 2015.
I do know
Killing of a Sacred Deer. Like there's a lot that I've heard of and heard about, and there's definitely a few that I haven't seen myself too. And his career goes back to 2001, but it really within the past 5-6 years is kind of when I think he's become more of a, I don't want to say a fully household name, but people recognize his name and know his work, and they're like, oh, this is a Yorgos movie, and like that means something to someone.
Sure. But it doesn't mean a whole lot to me because I haven't seen any of his movies. His trailers look zany. The movies, all of them look zany. He's got I can certainly tell you from watching the trailers, his movies have character to him. He is an auteur. If you don't tell me who's directing it, I could probably guess who's directing it. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
And I can't I can't tell you whether or not I like his movies or not because I've never seen any. So I need to change that. Maybe we will change that.
Yeah, maybe we could do a kind of
This movie does look kind of funny.
Thing.
It looks like it could be
something
humor,
I didn't get it from the trailer at all, which kind of makes sense because I was like, I don't know what the fucking plot of this movie is at all from the trailer. The answer is there are 3 plots. It is an anthology film with 3 different stories, which are described as distinct but loosely connected, and it's the same cast playing different characters in each. It looks like so. Okay, which is interesting.
Creative,
kind of an interesting thing. Yeah. Definitely a little different than stuff that he's done, even in his own weird filmography. The genre it's listed at is absurdist dark comedy.
Yeah,
which I was like, yeah, that's Yorgos has pioneered that genre. It might appear.
It might be something that I think is pretty funny. I didn't really like.
Speaking of long,
kind of
the 2 hours and 45 minutes on this bad boy. So
that's a long one.
So this is something for sure. I'm intrigued. I don't know if I'll see it in a theater, especially given that runtime, but very intriguing nonetheless. So I do want to catch it, if nothing else, at some point. So Jesse Plemons, man, Jesse Plemons is good. He's good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Emma Stone's good too. Well, they're all good. It's a great cast, So. It looks fucking interesting. Well shot. It looks very Yorgos, again, to kind of just use that descriptor. And so I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. But we'll see. We'll see if we check in on it. Just a couple weeks away. All right. Last but not least, on the trailer front, to use that phrase again, we have an official trailer for something that we got an official teaser for a little while back, so we're following up on that. Beetlejuice, bringing back most of the original cast from the original Beetlejuice, obviously including Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara. Bringing in some newcomers: Justin Theroux, Jenna Ortega, Monica Bellucci, Willem Dafoe, also in this. Also doing a weird thing.
He's doing
Willem Dafoe just does weird shit. He just does weird shit in movies at this point, and that's fine. Good for him. So an official trailer for this. I think we were, intrigued by the teaser. It felt like a fun sort of thing. The juice is loose, sort of thing.
That was very good.
We get more in this. Getting this, a better feel for what this sequel is going to look like. So September 6th, you envision yourself in a theater watching Beetlejuice?
We need to do a bonus episode on the original Beetlejuice.
That's true. We do indeed. Definitely down for that.
Then I certainly will do a sequel episode on Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Much in the same way that we're doing a Mad Max.
Yeah, exactly what we're doing right here. Exactly, yeah.
I like Beetlejuice. What I'm going to say is I remember being thoroughly entertained with Beetlejuice. I'd watch Beetlejuice at least once a year when I had cable TV as a kid.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
Childhood staple.
Loved it.
Sure.
So I'd do it again.
All right. Yeah. I'm down. I think this just does seem to be doing a really good job of recapturing the feel. Like, it doesn't look like a, modern day CG crap version of Beetlejuice. Like, it obviously is very much leaning into the practical things and kind of the wonkiness of the original. Like, cinematography, everything feels like it's very much trying to just feel like that movie did.
Yeah.
The only question mark for me is what does this movie bring to the table that the first movie doesn't already bring to the table? That's what I'm wondering about this movie. If that makes sense.
True. What, he's still looks like he's still trying to get married, I guess, huh?
Exactly. It's like, is this just kind of the same movie, but it's 30 years later, so it's different? What's 40 years later? Jesus Christ, how old is this fucking first movie? When did the first one come out? I got to do the math on this real quick. Oh, that's going to bother me. 1988. So
good long time. 30 some odd years.
30 some. Yeah, that's wild. I wasn't alive when the original came out, so that makes me feel slightly better. But still, it was kind of the same thing where like it did become kind of a thing that I liked as a kid. So. Yeah, it feels like it's hitting all the right beats, but I am wondering, like, is this going to bring something new to the table that makes it, like, stand side to side with the Beetlejuice, or is it really just trying to bring Beetlejuice back for a modern audience?
Right.
Because it looks like it's very much a nostalgic sort of thing where people that like the original are going to come back for this. So you got to give it, you got to bring something a little bit different with it, too, to make it worthwhile in its own right. So we'll see. Obviously some new cast additions are exciting. And maybe the trailer is really just trying to be like, look, it's like the Beetlejuice that you know and love. Come see this one. and you'll know and love it too. So, hey, Tim Burton's back.
He's back.
You know, I think he's working with people that worked on Wednesday as well. You know, and it looks appropriately Tim Burton. I will say that, to its credit, it looks very appropriately Tim Burton. So, yeah, September. I think. Well, I guess probably would do it a little before September. We would do a Beetlejuice OG Beetlejuice bonus episode, and then roll right into Beetlejuice. I'd be down for that for sure.
Kind of fun, you know, pre Halloween kind of deal.
Not quite Halloween season, obviously, but you know, we work around the film's release date. We'll make it work. So, yeah, down for that. So we'll make it happen. I think we can make that happen anyway. So, yeah. Well, there you go. There are the trailers. There are the headlines. There's everything for you there. It's time. It's time to talk about Furiosa. If you're ready to talk about,
it's already time.
Furiosa. It's already time. You have to do the whole segment in an Australian accent.
Oi!
And, just like, you know, like listen to like Chris Hemsworth, like, oh yeah, he's having a blast. I want to do what he's doing.
Got the fucking curly mustache and shit.
Gotta make it epic. So Furiosa and Mad Max Saga, you ready to dive right in?
Let's do it.
It is playing in theaters only right now. Written by George Miller and Nico Latharis, directed by George Miller. Film stars Anya Taylor-Joy, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Burke, Elila Brown, Lockie Hume, and more. After being snatched from her home and falling into the hands of a great biker horde led by the warlord Dementis, young Furiosa finds herself in a non-stop battle to return home.
You're just a baby.
So you want to do a just a baby, little D.
Little D.
You want to do a box office breakdown on this movie here?
Yeah, let's do it. What do we got? How's it performing? I have to know.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bomb, unfortunately.
No, is it really?
Yeah, it's not doing very well, unfortunately. Which a small correction. I think I said on the Fury Road episode that I thought that Fury Road had made money. It turns out Fury Road, I think, actually lost a little bit of money. And I think it probably because of its shit show of a production had probably a bigger budget than probably was appropriate. And I think box office wise, I think it was reported. Yeah. So this is for Fury Road. Okay, well, I don't know what this sentence means. It's actually confusing. Although the film made a gross profit, the Hollywood Reporter calculated that the net loss incurred by the film was around $20 to $40 million. I guess the idea is the budget was this
so
amount.
Tight.
Its total amount that it made was more than its budget, but
they had to
because
pay
of
people.
Hollywood financing and whatever and distribution costs or whatever, that actually still ended up losing a chunk of money. Yeah, Furiosa is not unfortunately doing so hot. So in terms of numbers, just getting into some numbers, it did open at number 1 in its opening weekend, which was Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
It got number 1. Nice, mate. It was a neck and neck battle with the Garfield movie. It was a necker with the Garfield movie.
Fucking Garfield.
Garfield. Yeah, it marked the lowest total box office receipts for Memorial Day weekend since 1995. Furiosa was the lowest grossing film to finish in first over the Memorial Day weekend since Casper back in 1995. And so it made $32.3 million in the 4-day opening weekend, including the holiday Monday.
I feel like it had a pretty good budget.
Which was under its projections of around $40 to $50 million as its opening. It sported a budget of $168 million, which is a lot of money. Not, Flash levels of absurd money or, or Secret Invasion or whatever, where it's just like, holy shit, where's that money going? You could see the money on screen with a movie like this, I think, but it is a lot of money at the end of the day. And it dropped 59% in the second weekend.
59%, no legs.
Yeah, no legs on this one. It's a rated R movie, obviously, somewhat of a niche appeal. A longer movie, this is almost 30 minutes longer than Fury Road. So it's got some strikes against it for sure. It's got a lady in it, and obviously people don't like that sort of business sometimes. So yeah, fucking Australian fucks, making movies. They think they can make movies better than us. We'll show them. We're not going to watch their movies. I don't think overseas it's doing much better either.
It's just fucking bombing everywhere.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's not like Superbomb, like massively tanking. It's just, again, for the amount of money that obviously went into a movie like this, it's not gonna, like, this will be another loss at the end of the day for I guess WB, I guess, is technically who made this, I think. So it will be a loss at the end of the day, which is to say, I think they've kind of basically, I think there was a Hollywood Reporter article that was basically like, don't get your hopes up for another Mad Max movie. This is probably it. Because, I think that maybe WB was thinking Fury Road, obviously people fucking love that movie. It won Oscars. Like, it's a big deal. I guess maybe the thought process was, well, if we give people more of that.
If we put Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy on there, and
right, put it, and maybe that will get, we'll get more butts in seats because now there's an established audience for this kind of movie. Anyway, they thought wrongly. So, it didn't quite hit there. And I think the marketing wasn't amazing.
Marketing was kind of
like
turdy
marketing
a little bit.
Yeah, it made the movie look very, CG heavy in a way that obviously Fury Road really wasn't, as we talked about. I think there was definitely some choices made in the marketing that probably didn't help its overall performance, as we can now look at in retrospect. But that is what it is. Sometimes good movies make not enough money. Sometimes bad movies make a lot of money. Sometimes bad movies make an appropriate amount of not enough money, for what they were. I don't know, but we have to weigh in on what Furiosa is like now. So let's do that. No secret, obviously, anyone that listened to our Fury Road coverage knows, big fans of that movie. Obviously, it's a fucking fantastic movie. Sets the bar really high for something like this, which is a prequel, and really a direct prequel, very, very heavily tied into Fury Road, following the character of Furiosa, who was, as we talked about, kind of the lead really in Fury Road. So I want to hear it from you. What did you think of Furiosa and Mad Max Saga?
All right, Furiosa. So I think I went on record once saying I don't know if I need this. I know I don't need it because
Well, Fury Road was Fury Road could stand alone. You didn't need any more, really.
And then can you capture lightning in a bottle again?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Sure.
And
well, what's the answer?
Okay, so this one felt more CG than the first movie did.
Sure.
It felt different. In some ways, it did more. I think it did more heavy lifting with the plot than the first movie.
Oh, totally.
So the first and foremost, this movie did not attempt to be the same movie. This movie set out to be a different movie. Like I said, you got more heavy lifting with the plot. I feel like there's 10 times the dialogue. There's way more dialogue, I feel like. But maybe it's because I'm seeing this movie I got a recency bias. I don't know. So plot's different movie. Set in the same universe. It's supposed to be a prequel. I think there was a misstep. I'm kind of bouncing around all over the place here.
Okay.
But I think that it was a misstep to try to make it so tight of a prequel, and I'll talk about this in spoilers. But
like how it feeds almost directly into Fury Road, okay. I think I agree in some ways, but probably best reserved for spoilers.
I think that direction was kind of a misstep, but I do enjoy I enjoyed the narrative bits of this movie. I do think that the pacing was, I thought it was a little wonky. It wasn't as tight as the first one. Sure. But the first one set a bar very high, so like I try to, after the beginning of the movie, after like the first 15 minutes or so, I try to temper my expectations of what we're getting here. It's going to be something different. And that's okay. Right. So I think what this movie set out to do, thought it did it really well. It's not the first movie. I feel like it leans more heavily on CG. I don't think this is going to be an action movie of the century, like the first one was. You know what I mean? I don't think it's one of the best films ever made. I do think it's a very well made movie, though. I think it's really good. There's sequences where Fury Road, the whole movie was one kind of extended sequence, incredible fucking sequence.
Right.
There's sequences in this movie, much like 98% of every other movie. There's sequences and high points, like just incredible moments. Got
set pieces that throughout are really interesting. Not that the one movie is the entire movie is one fucking abnormal, extended long set piece. Correct.
So the set pieces in this movie are, well, I think they're pretty incredible. I think they're well done. They're wildly entertaining. I think the characters are wildly entertaining. I think it's mostly an entertaining movie. I think it's a little disjointed. It could be tightened up in a couple places. I think it plays a little long. I think you could probably cut out 15, 20 minutes of it, and I think you'd be okay. I think you'd have a really tight movie at 15 to 20 minutes. If you were to cut that out.
In the same way that Fury Road could have been 3 hours. We know that there was footage to certainly support a 3-hour movie, but it didn't need to be. It was fucking tight. You got that down to what it needed to be to work. And honestly, as well as it does.
if you had a longer Fury Road,
probably not as good.
Oh, I would argue that it would
runs too long.
It would detract.
Then it would get to the point where like, all right, this is going too long. Because of the structure of that, like what that movie is. It couldn't be too long. Otherwise, it really throws everything off.
Yeah.
This movie can get away with it more because it's more segmented in the way that Fury Road's not. But right, exactly, yeah. So, but still could be tightened at the same time.
The score, incredible. I listened to the score to this movie driving home. And there is a war rig in this movie. This is the creation of the war rig. I don't think that's too spoilery. I think you see a war rig in the trailers.
No. Right.
So my wife's out of town. Sarah's out of town for her brother's graduation. I dropped my truck off because I had to transport some dogs with her car. So I'm driving the Suburban for the weekend. And I was blaring the score on the way home. There's one shitty road, and I purposely went down the shitty road.
You were trying to simulate the wasteland conditions?
Exactly. Yeah. Shamefully, as a 32, 33-year-old adult.
Trying to consume some gasoline.
Yeah, we're going in the wastelands. So you go off to the bumpy road and blaring this post-apocalyptic metal like car music. It's just so oh man, so cool. And the Suburban suspension's kind of like bouncy a little bit, because it's big. And I felt like I was there, dude. Felt like I was there. You're right up on somebody's ass on the interstate, and they fucking
what a day! What a lovely day!
Get out of the way. I'm spraying chrome in my face and shit.
Mediocre.
I thought
you say that about other drivers around you, obviously.
I thought it was really cool how this movie depicted the how the economy worked. This might be my older self kind of like appreciating stuff.
Yeah, no, right. You've got
I have
these three
water.
pillars of the wasteland, and then, you have these resources. And it's like, because something we talked about with Fury Road was, it's not about the resources. Like the the wives are the ones that are, the important subject of that film. This is not that. It is really getting into the who and what of how this fucking weird ass post-apocalyptic civilization is working, and how the people in power are keeping themselves in power, and and stuff like that. So yeah,
and it kind of talks. This movie did draw a tear from me. I felt emotional. So maybe yeah.
Is that a spoiler? Is that a spoiler to get into that?
Well, I mean, we're not going to get into it here, but this movie did it did make me made me emotional a little bit, and I thought the characters are very, very, very well done. As cartoonish as they are.
I mean, Chris Hemsworth looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
in
he
this
does.
movie.
Totally. Totally. He looks nuts.
Ridiculous.
He's nuts. There's a guy that's totally rubbing his nipple the entire movie. You know that. He's got a hole cut out so he can pinch it, and it's fucking absurd. You have that one guy that looks like it kind of looks like Goggins, but it looks like he's got like a giant prosthetic over his brow. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Scrotus. Which so it's funny. I was struggling to find a picture of Scrotus on the internet because I wanted to show it to Dana because she didn't come to see it with me, and and I was like, does this make you think of anyone? Like, does this look like anyone to you? And the first thing that she said to me was Walton Goggins. And I was like, oh yeah, actually that is true. But you know who he really looks like the most to me?
Who?
Is fucking Butthead from that SNL sketch. It looks exactly like Mikey Day's fucking Butthead. 100% like identical to like because it's the fucking little teeth thing.
Yeah,
all of it. All of it is just straight up SNL Butthead, which is fucking hilarious and also was admittedly a little distracting throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But he does have a little bit of a Walton Goggins thing going on too. I was like, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Funny.
Anyway.
Yeah. But I think that the characters were, in spite of the world that they're in,
everything is so ridiculous and comical about like the story, the characters, the names, the appearances, and everything.
The humanity cuts right through them.
Right, there is something very genuine about all of it. That's what makes all of it work. Is like it doesn't play like a joke because there's an earnestness to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's really interesting, there's no noise to the characters and whatnot, right? So the things that matter really stand out, and it's because of it's because of the setting, it's because of everything else, So, I think that's a really interesting way to, you don't see a lot of movies like that, right?
No. Yeah. Right.
So anyways, cinematography was pretty good. I enjoyed the cinematography. When I say it was more CGG, well, it was more CG'd than
Fury Road.
Than Fury Road.
Right.
But it's because the scale was larger. The scale was
it's
a
doing
lot
stuff
larger
a little
for
bit
the things they tried
differently.
to do.
Yeah. In terms of like, I agree. And I don't think
you have done it practically? It would have been fucking nuts if everything was practical.
Well, then your budget
movie
probably gets to $200 million to try to do it in the way that would need to be done. Because sometimes like CG is more expensive, obviously, than doing stuff practically would be. But some of the stuff just couldn't be done in quite the way that clearly George Miller wanted it to be done, I guess. So
yeah,
and then you got to use all that fucking CG AI technology to make Furiosa look a little bit different,
So I didn't know that they CG'd anybody. I thought that I feel like a lot of the CG in the movie, like it blended in with the CG in the movie. I just thought it was like an editing choice. You know what I'm saying? Like everything kind of seemed soft.
Okay, yeah, I think some of it felt more like some of it felt green screeny in some ways.
Yeah,
like that's kind of where it showed off more to me. It wasn't like the quality of the CG is like that looks really bad. It just kind of felt like the some of it felt like not real or practical in the way that like everything in Fury Road, even like the stuff we talked about, like the storm and stuff. Like obviously CG still felt real. This was a little. It felt more visual effectsy, than it did, and just like you can kind of tell, like, oh, that's an effect shot. Oh, that's an effect, or this is maybe a practical thing that effect shot is transforming it that makes the whole thing look a little more CGE than it probably would have otherwise.
Way.
Yeah, and then, I think that to the film's credit, it never bothered me. I also don't think it looked as bad as some of the trailer stuff indicated, so I don't know if it got improved from being put in the trailer to the final product of the movie.
Yeah.
It was still noticeable, but never quite like distractingly bad either, for me anyway.
And to be clear, we're putting it on the
again, and like your bar is so fucking high, right? Like, what are you gonna do? And
so with that being said, the practical effects blending in with the visual effects and the
Yeah.
I think it's still incredibly well. It's artistically done. There's no doubt that it's artistically done the way they tried to capture certain things. But the practical effects are still nuts. Like,
and then there's still a lot of them in there. It's not like this has gone fully the other. This is not a original trilogy Star Wars to prequel trilogy Star Wars. It's still very much, using CGI obviously pretty liberally, but not replacing everything that could be done practically, because let's just do it CG. It'll be easier that way.
I still have a sequence in here that took 2 months. I think almost close to 2 months anyways to film.
Well, was it the war rig sequence or was it something else?
Yeah, the war rig sequence.
Yeah, I mean that whole sequence.
Bonkers,
and there's elements to that where you're like, I'm sorry, they did that practically? What? And
yeah,
that's insane. And I do think you see that. I think you totally see that on screen.
You do?
Like, where it really is leaning into those Fury Road-esque levels of practicality,
and that
shines.
Makes everything more evident when it's not. You know what I mean?
Sure. That's the downside. Is the flip side of the coin is when you're not doing everything that way, it makes everything else look a little worse. Otherwise, Fury Road had the advantage of never having to really do that. So,
and yeah, I mean, I think this movie just needed more money. I think it needed more money and more time.
Maybe that's what it was.
I think more money and more time. I think you have another Fury Road. I think it's a little bit different.
It's close, but it's not quite there in terms of just
there's bits that totally could have been excised from this movie, so it could have been tight. But you would have had to spend time cutting through it, and time is money. I think that you could have captured things practically instead digitally. Once again, time is money. So I think that this movie just needed more. I just think it could have benefited from a little bit more time and money.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
but I think everything's. I still thoroughly I'm criticizing it, but it's only because the bar is lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? Is this lightning in a bottle?
Yeah, I mean it's such a lofty standard to live up to that it's. I mean it was an impossible challenge. Right?
Impossible.
And so
it has to be different.
Like the question
is it different enough?
Can you recapture the lightning in the bottle? And it's like, no, you can't. So what you have to do is do something different. Make it different enough that it can stand up on its own and look and feel and be different in a way that justifies its own existence. Because I mean, obviously this movie wouldn't exist if Fury Road didn't blow up in the way that it did. Clearly not box office wise, but in terms of reception and fervor for that film of like holy fuck, this is a crowning achievement of action films in general, not just George Miller's directorial career. Like this is a level of achievement that has not been seen in film and may never be seen but again in film, and like this has shades of that but isn't trying to just surpass it. It's not at all trying to surpass it. You know what I mean?
No, it's different. It's trying to do something different.
It's not trying to be Fury Road 2. It's not even really trying to be Fury Road 0.5. In some ways it is. I guess it's probably closer to that.
And that's what I was going to say. I was going to say until it's not.
Yeah.
Which is where I think the misstep happened. You know what I mean? They didn't try to like wedge it appropriately.
I think, yes, I think we'll get into it in spoilers, but I think my overall sense is this movie is better when it's not trying to tether everything too closely to Fury Road.
Exactly.
But we'll get into that. But I'll just say my piece quickly, and then we can get into some of that stuff.
What do you think about this movie?
I mean, obviously we've kind of with going back and forth, we've kind of hit on the things that I think I really agree with you overall. And I think that although this movie is not nearly as good as Mad Max Fury Road, I think it's damn good in its own respect as well. I think that it does separate itself, I think, effectively, by not trying to do the same thing over again. I think, the characterization that this movie offers, I think is really, really interesting. And I think just really, I would like to go back and watch Fury Road now that I've seen Furiosa, because I think there's a lot of, for Fury Road, a movie that, although it's very action-packed, still has, I think, a lot of emotional depth and complexity to the characters. This just adds so many layers to Furiosa, particularly that I think it would be really interesting to revisit Fury Road because of what this movie tells us about her. That's alluded to in dialogue in Fury Road, but not really shown. And then seeing it shown here, I think would be really interesting to revisit that character and revisit that movie with this added perspective to it. Because I think this movie does a really, really great job of making Furiosa a really, really interesting character to follow. And it's a good exploration of kind of, and like expansion of the lore. You said as much, I think, early on in non-spoilers, like this is way more plot heavy than a Fury Road. Fury Road is boom, 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 boom. This is like
captures the chaos of the Wasteland.
This is broken up into chapters. You've got one character who, you see her aging throughout life, and there's a literal jump between cast members, when she gets too old that you have to, then it's Anya Taylor-Joy taking over the role. And so it's very different because it's taking place over such a longer period of time, checking in on different parts of the setting, checking in on different parts of the world. That it feels very, very different from Fury Road. But I think that was a really smart thing for George Miller to do, is not just do the same thing over again. That's where it works best, is where it really feels like its own movie. That obviously shares similarities visually and really in terms of score. I mean, the score, I liked the score, but I thought it felt very Fury Road to me in the way that, I don't know. I mean, and the way that Dune Part 1 did Part 2 was like still really good, but kind of just more of the same,
Sure.
in a certain sort of way, like some good new pieces added in, sprinkled in there that are well done. But the freshness of it is a little bit lost because you can't recapture that magic. I didn't feel like the score did enough to separate itself. And the way that this movie, I think, does a lot to separate itself from Fury Road, I didn't think the score did. But I think independently, looking the score, if you listen to the score on its own, I think it's probably a really fucking good score. And I haven't done that. I haven't done my own Wasteland in the Wild experience, driving the streets of Philadelphia.
So if you're gonna have through lines, I think that's a good through line.
That's not a bad one to hang your hat on, right? To keep there. I think that's fine,
like the same,
because it gives it the same feel, the same sort of feel. Like it gives you that connection with the world, where like this is the Mad Max sound that you associate with the Mad Max sort of thing,
right?
I think that's totally fair. In the same way that had Dune Part 1 to Part 2 changed, Hans Zimmer's out and is some other fuck, like it would have been weird,
It would have been, oh God, thank God that didn't happen.
Like that would have been jarring to just like everything about that movie is very, like that. I mean, like that would be even more jarring because obviously it's the same. It's really intended to be a true sequel, and this is intended to be a prequel that is different but still part of the world, part of the franchise. It wouldn't have worked, So I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it holds the film back. I don't think it or anything like that. I just do think that it is not as fresh as it was, in 2015, for example. So, but I think the things I liked about this movie, there's a lot of things I liked about this movie. There's a lot of things I liked about this movie that make it unlike Fury Road, but I think make it a good complement to Fury Road. I think this is the kind of movie that is not going to be as rewatchable as Fury Road because it's a little leaning more on the plot side of things. But I think that there are things that I don't know, make it stand apart and unique in and of itself as well. And I think it's seeing different types of set pieces than just like we get a great Fury Road-esque set piece in this with the war rig. We get a lot of other stuff. The beginning, the first chapter has this kind of extended desert chase sequence, which was really fucking cool. There's other things in this. There's we see explorations of like Gastown and the Bullet Farm in a way that we didn't see in Fury Road. And there's, kind of set pieces that tie in with that, which is definitely cool and interesting. So it does enough things differently. I think the cast does a really great job. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is fucking unhinged, ridiculous. He feels like a classic example of like an Australian actor who has been forced to do too many non-Australian accents. And so when he gets the chance to be Australian, he just fucking goes for it. He just fucking goes for it, mate. He's just having a bloody blast over there. But he's clearly fucking relishing the role of Dementus. because he's fucking nuts. He's just absolutely batshit in this role. Like the first time I saw him, I was like, oh well, yeah, that's quite brutal. But he's having the time of his life, and interestingly, like I feel like Anya Taylor-Joy is kind of like for a movie called Furiosa. This is a movie where like Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max kind of just is just like blah, 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 the whole movie, and Furiosa is kind of the same way in this movie where
she doesn't say shit.
She doesn't say shit, and so like Anya Taylor-Joy's performance is mostly just fucking like looking around at shit and physically reacting to shit
all the time.
She looks fucking mean, man. Like I'm just convincingly mean. I thought she was very good. In a way, like I was just like, oh man, you're stepping in for Charlize Theron. That's tough. That's a tough gig, right? I thought she was great. I thought the young girl, Lila Brown, I thought she was great too as young Furiosa. I thought she was like they were all impressive, and I think that's such a tough thing when you're trying to step in and play what has been made an iconic role by a different actor. So
she I was reading the Wikipedia page, and apparently she found the role. Yeah. She found the role more challenging than what she expected it to be.
Because she's not talking the whole time
on record. She said, "Ask me in 20 years, and I'll, maybe we can have a conversation." I just want to talk about it right now.
When you make a Mad Max movie, you stick these fuckers in a desert, and everything just goes haywire.
Yeah, apparently.
And then you stick out. You get all this footage. You give it to George Miller's wife, Margaret Siskel, and let her fucking do something with it, and then somehow it all is worth it. Like at the end of the day, they figure this shit out.
What's her name?
Margaret Sixel is her name.
Anyways, but it was more challenging than what she was expecting it to be. That might be because she didn't have any fucking dialogue.
Right. I think it's probably like a physical component of it, of where you're, away from home and probably again like sweltering conditions. There's probably, this one probably is shot in a way that it's a little bit more clear of what's happening because it's not a 2-hour chase movie. But there is probably kind of just that aspect of like, what the fuck are we doing here? And she's probably like, I'm being, I'm the main character of this movie and I don't have any dialogue. Like I'm an actor. I'm supposed to give monologues and speeches and, and big showy performances. And like, what am I doing?
She's an editor, by the way. That's like all of her things is editing.
Yeah. I knew that.
I did not know that.
For Margaret Sixel. Sorry, awesome. I was talking about Anya Taylor-Joy, but yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I was looking up
deep dive. I looked at her. It looks like she's mostly done George Miller's works, like his films. Which George Miller is a weird ass fucking director. Babe, Pig in the City, Happy Feet 1 and 2, Mad Max trilogy. Mad Max, the original Mad Max's Fury Road, and now Furiosa. Like, dude is all over the map in terms of the types of movies that he does.
Just knows what he wants
is
to
impressive.
Make, it's
because
awesome.
Like he hasn't really struck out thus far. Has he? I haven't seen 3,000 Years of Longing, but I think he liked it pretty well.
Fucking gold. You got to watch it. So
I do want to watch it. Yeah, it looked interesting.
Yeah, I imagine it's incredibly challenging to, like you said, not only try to play a role. Going back to Taylor-Joy,
right? Yes, sure.
Not only to try to play a role with no dialogue, right, but to try to fill the shoes of someone of the caliber of Charlize.
Yeah, you got to live up to that performance.
And in going further than just her, everyone involved is now trying to make the sequel or the prequel rather, to the best action movie ever made.
Thing that is, everyone is like, this is insane. This is amazing. This is so good. So it is. Yeah, it's a tough gig. Overall, it's there's a lot. There's a lot that that goes into it of lofty standards to live up to.
I think Taylor-Joy fucking nailed it, though.
I thought she was great. I thought she was really good, and I would say I've liked her in general and pretty much everything I've seen her in. I think she's a very very talented actor. But I thought that this even hit a different side of her than I think I've seen from her before. And I thought she was really good. Yeah, she's Princess Peach in the Mario movie. Don't forget. So that was acting, man. You just you can really go different places.
It's like what's his face in V for Vendetta.
Sure. Yeah. Hugo
Weaving.
Right.
When you're forced to, it forces you to push yourself in different ways. You know,
right.
I mean,
if you got to perform in a different way than what you'd traditionally be accustomed to. Yeah.
Yeah. Really,
it can take you to interesting places. Yeah.
Totally. Or, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can fucking dive it into the ground. It could be terrible, but you know.
Yeah. Anybody but you could thrive also. You know, amidst different unexpected circumstances, exactly. You could really relish the challenge, and you know, and crush it. You know, and I do think she was very good.
I think it really elevated, in my book, it elevated Hemsworth as well.
Totally.
I have to say,
and those two playing off each other, I thought was really great too.
What movie was Hemsworth completely unhinged? It was the Night at the Roxbury.
Oh, yeah. The cabin,
the hotel,
not Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, fucking hell, what is it? Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was another one where he because I think he gets bored of playing the straight man. Like, this is why Thor went from straight man to comedy guy, you know, with Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, you know. But, like, you know, when he's doing his extraction
Hemsworth is
movies.
So much more than these Hollywood blockbuster movies. You know what I mean?
Because, I mean, look, he's got the looks of a traditional Hollywood handsome leading man.
And
it's fair enough that you want to, and he likes paychecks, for sure. We all do. We love them. We love them when they're, you know, add a few zeros. We love it even more, you know? So, not in front, though, at the end, and not after the decimal point, to be clear, because then it's not helpful. I don't love that anymore. In fact, it might actually make me more mad.
Can't blame the guy, you know?
But yeah, like, I think he totally loves doing these things that let him go different places than he usually is allowed to go.
Let him be an actor, right?
Yeah. And again, I would make the point that when it lets him be Australian, I think he likes it even more.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. Lets him, I mean, it... Yeah. So I mean, I think for my money, I think this is one of Hemsworth's best performances.
Good. And part of it is it's unlike what we usually see from him and have seen from him. So so it's nice to see him get to break away from stoic, handsome leading man.
Yeah.
To fucking unhinged, you know, psychopath in a fucking desert, you know, who's just a crazy asshole. And is speaking of, we didn't talk about it, we talked about it a lot about it, and the Fury Road episode, but the vehicle design, his fucking chariots, his motorcycle chariot was incredible.
Uses an aircraft. Let's look that up. I should have done that for a fun fact.
I want to see. I want to know if that fucking that rig is fully functional, because if they didn't make all of these vehicles fully functional the same way,
I do know
then what are we even doing?
Totally using a well, did they say they were using a Rolls-Royce engine? Aircraft engine?
I don't know. Oh, because like in the movie, they talk about like the specs of some of the things. Is that what you mean?
That was totally an aircraft engine inside that thing. It was like you know how they did you ever see that movie with Dennis Quaid when they crash in the desert and they had to like it's called Flight of the Phoenix and they have to like rebuild the plane?
Yeah. No, I don't know that I've seen it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
taking it old school desert movies. Let's see.
Yeah, I got to know more about that fucking vehicle.
All right, let's see. See if I can find any. Here's the real story behind the Furiosa bike, as told by the builders.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness me, dude.
What?
If you can just Google JRL Cycles Blackjack radial bike. I can provide you with a picture of this fucking motorcycle. It's like did you ever watch that show on Discovery Channel called it was like Customs? It was with Jesse James and he built custom motorcycles and shit.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but yes.
Orange. Yeah. It was like Orange County Choppers was a different one. Look at this fucking motorcycle.
Something like that.
This is a serious fucking motorcycle. Oh my goodness.
Okay. All right, taking a look now. Hot damn. Oh, I see. Oh, that's wow. Holy shit.
Fucking nuts.
Oh man.
So that's the motorcycle that he rides on, right? And they just put a chariot behind it and changed how
a chariot attached to it.
But that's the actual. I mean, this is a example of that kind of bike.
The chariot, though, it has multiple motorcycles. Is it all that motorcycle, or it's
one
that's
central
the one
motorcycle with?
And then there's like the two different ones, kind of.
Yeah,
and then the chariot. Okay.
Yeah, so you have the radial bike in the front, which is providing all the power to it. But the steering predominantly is going to come from the they're all the steering's tied together. At least I think that's the way it looked like in some of the shots I saw. Now that I'm looking at pictures, it looks like I just wish they had a big ass article like they had on the first movie.
Well, maybe we've had the benefit of nearly a decade since Fury Road came out. A lot of time for exploration of these sorts of things. Obviously, this movie's a little bit more new. And,
that's true.
So, I guess my question is: was that chariot fully functional? Like, were they driving that shit practically? As constructed with the three fucking motorcycles and the chariot compartment.
I think it's totally doable for sure. We know that motorcycle that I sent you the picture of is fully functional.
The mean one in the front. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, functional motorcycle. All right. Impressive. It looks pretty cool, but fucking chariot, three motorcycles.
So I'm actually watching a behind the scenes sizzle reel from Warner Brothers Singapore.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he's talking. Chris Hemsworth's talking and stuff. I don't have subtitles on, but 119 horsepower at 6,500 RPM with 160 foot-pounds of torque.
It sounds like it's working to me. It sounds like they can drive that bad boy. That's what it sounds like to me.
It's got Chris Hemsworth
all right,
riding around in the desert with a chariot.
I'm giving this movie an extra star. An extra star for a fucking fully functional motorcycle chariot monstrosity. Love it. Love it.
There were moments in this movie. I'm sitting up front, and there's moments in this movie I'm laughing out loud. Just because of
it's a joyride,
the absurdity,
right? Totally.
So, he also drives a monster truck. The monster truck that Chris Hemsworth drives, the car that she has the motorcycles in the back, and that's a real car.
Yep. Okay.
And the motorcycle's a real car. All of these are practical. I don't think there's there's probably not like 170 of them.
Not as much of a need for it probably either, because it's not, a bunch of fucking, hordes of vehicles chasing another horde of vehicles, chasing a war rig, like that sort of thing. So
yeah, the desert car, the desert car that she drives near the end of the movie, that's also a real car.
Okay.
So it's like the set piece cars. The cars
they're
that
legit.
It's centered around are real cars.
And presumably like the war rig, obviously, I imagine, because of all that, the 2 months of shooting they did for that, I'm sure that was all
that's a real
stuff
rig.
Too.
His motorcycles will be, and then of course all the this is more of a it's more of a motorcycle.
It's got a bike horde, because they're just individual motorcycles. Yeah. I would imagine those are all up to speed working and stuff. So
for sure,
right, cool. I realized that was a bit of a tangent. Thank you all for bearing with us.
Can't talk about Mad Max without talking about fucking motorcycles.
You gotta get into it, right? You gotta break it down a little bit, because a movie made by lesser men and women would just we'll just fucking CGI that shit. We'll just it'll be Chris Hemsworth standing on a green screen where just the chariot is what we've constructed and everything around him is just CG. But no, that's not that's not how Australia does it. That's not how George Miller does things. All right. So anyway, in terms of non-spoilers, I think we've kind of hit on it for me. I would say really, really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I think it is a worthy companion to Fury Road that is not intended to be, like Fury Road. I think it is very intentionally set apart from it. And so, no, it doesn't hit the same highs. It couldn't. It didn't. There's just no way that it could have. And so I think that it didn't necessarily try to, it maybe had smaller expectations that I think it succeeded with. But I think that the two films, I think, will ultimately complement each other at the end of the day. And I think that that's, as it probably will end up being, if these are the 1-2 punch that we get of Mad Max, with Fury Road on, then these are two really good movies, that can exist side by side. So,
another picture for you.
All right. Taking a look.
While Colton's looking that up, I did find a better article from Motor Trend.
Oh, okay. Right. We're steering back into this conversation. All right.
Custom chopper. built by a 7-cylinder radial plane engine flanked by 2 BMW R18s. So it is two side bikes.
Something to someone. Okay. So, gotcha.
There's that.
This picture you sent me is of Chris Hemsworth and his fake nose and goggles on this
with a fucking
insane looking motorcycle. Yeah, and the cape too. Oh, and he's got the little teddy thing too. Yeah.
Would you not?
That's fucking nuts. You not? That's intense.
Man, if somebody says, "Do you want to play a lead role? Your name's Dementis. You drive this aircraft motorcycle." Fuck yeah, dude. Sign me up.
Hell yeah. And it actually works. I actually get to fucking do the thing. Yeah, I mean, hell yeah. Of course you would.
Oh, man.
All right. So should we do some recommendation? You ready to get there?
Yeah, recommendations.
All right. Would you recommend that people check Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga out in theaters, wait to watch it at home, 4K, streaming, whatever, or wait until they're paid to watch it?
So I tried to save it till spoilers, or to the recommendations, I mean.
Okay.
Did this movie capture lightning in a bottle twice? The answer is, I answered this question before. I said this before. It did not try to capture lightning in a bottle. It tried to do its own thing.
Yes.
I think this movie tried to do its own thing, and it succeeded in trying to do its own thing. But then, it didn't want to fully commit, and it kind of tried to tie itself really tight to the first movie, in ways that weren't necessary. And I think that it faltered a little bit because of that. However, I think that this movie is I think it's a well done character movie. I think it's a well done action movie. I think the score is incredible. The cinematography is incredible. I think the CG is a little wonky only because of the spectacle of the practical, right? The dynamics between the two. You look at one versus looking at the other, and it makes it more evident.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have benefited from more time. I think you could have blurred those edges a little bit more. But I think that this is most definitely see it in theaters if you can. I missed out on premium format because I had to wait so long because of the cruise.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I'm pretty upset about that. But I think that this is a most definitely a see it in theaters movie. I think this is a special movie. This is the last we see of Mad Max. I think that it's leaving it in. I think it's
not a sour note.
It's not a sour note. I think the pacing could have been a little
it's not
tighter.
a Fury Road sort of note, but it's still absolutely worthwhile, right?
Yeah, if we boil it down to 3 categories, yeah, see it in theaters, highest category. If we boil it down in percentages, it's like a 90%er. Like it's high up there. It's still really good. I think it's important to kind of draw that standard too, because you're comparing it to the best of bests. Right, you're comparing it to a 100%er, an abnormal movie. So if this was the summer blockbuster, and then you get your Transformer and your G.I. Joes and shit, this is going to stand leagues apart from the rest of the competition. And this might go into talks of the end of the year movies. You know what I mean? Because it's really that good. It's a very good movie. The performances were outstanding. And I think it's really, you compare it to the original Mad Max, and, the performances were cool in that first movie, but you can very seldom talking about the performances. You know what I mean? You're really talking about everything else. This movie, you're talking more about the performances, and then the stuff is in addition to that. You know what I mean? I think the performances are the standout things in this movie for me. So, anyways, yeah, I think it's a special movie. This is all we get. I'm going to be happy. I think it's see it in theaters, and I think it's a 90%er compared to a 150% or 100%er at the max. So
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna also say go see it in theaters. It did fortunately catch it in Dolby since I was not cruising around the.
I saw Argylle on a
wherever you were. Again, I'll wait to hear about that. Matthew Vaughn has been on the record recently I don't know why people hated this movie. I thought it was fine. People were fucking really upset about it.
Shut your mouth, Matthew Vaughn.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on Argylle in just a little while. But I really dug Furiosa. I think it absolutely stands up there with Fury Road, although it is not as good as Fury Road. It works. It works together. I think they will work together at the end of the day I'd love to see more from this world. I don't need to see more from this world, but I'd happily accept it if George Miller can fucking... I mean, hey, maybe he's got some Francis Ford Coppola pockets, where he can just self-fund some shit, but probably not.
I imagine he's worth a pretty penny. Let's see.
Well, it's not like his movies are making a ton of money. I don't know, but I guess he's pocketing whatever he's pocketing from these movies at the end of the day. So I don't know. I really, 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 really enjoyed this. Would recommend it. I think because it's the type of movie that is best experienced, even if it is not in a premium format. It's a movie that is absolutely best experienced on a big screen, and the way that Fury Road would have been best experienced on the biggest, loudest format possible. This has those moments in it. Mm-hmm. It's got quieter moments in it, and it's a little different feel and flavor to Fury Road, but it's got enough similarities and feel that that's the kind of way you need to do it. You should do it, especially if you are someone that has, feels the way about Fury Road, or even close to the way that we feel about Fury Road. It's a movie that clearly desperately needs your fucking help, box office wise, but also I think will reward you, because I think there's probably a legitimate concern from some people of, is this cash in? Is this Fury Road but shit? I think there's a legitimate concern of Charlize isn't even in this. Like, why would I care? And I think that the marketing didn't do a good job of assuaging people's concerns about, oh God, prequel. Like, this is probably one of the best prequels, period. I don't know if that's a fucking bold, outlandish claim to make or anything like that, but prequels generally don't add a lot of... The prequels don't usually add enough to the story to justify their own existence, or they're noticeably worse. I mean, Star Wars prequels obviously are obvious examples, but it just generally feels like prequels don't work that well. Sequels are interesting because you can build on the arcs that have been set up. Prequels, you got to take people back to square, to ground zero, to the first, place where they were before you found them interesting in another movie. And so I think that as far as prequels go, this has got to be up there in terms of doing a really good job of adding to the characterization of a character that you liked and cared about in Fury Road and Furiosa. And like I said, maybe upon rewatching Fury Road, actually enhancing your enjoyment of that film because of the added characterization that you get for her. So we'll see. Haven't checked back in on Fury Road, so we'll see. We'll see on that front. But anyway, I think I'm ready for full spoilers. Go see this in theaters to summarize our recommendation. You ready to jump in on some full spoilers for Furiosa?
Fun fact, real quick. I was just doing some reading while you were talking about this. Mad Max 2, 1981 was voted the greatest action film of all time.
George Miller, every decade he just does it again.
By American Magazine, Rolling Stone in 2015. So in 2015, Mad Max 2 from 1981 was voted number one action movie of all time.
Oh, it was still number one. Or was that pre-Fury Road then? It
doesn't say. This is just Wikipedia.
It's gotta be pre.
And then Die Hard was voted the best action movie of all time with 21 votes in 2014.
Okay.
In a poll of 50 directors, actors, and critics.
Okay.
Anyways, side note.
All right.
Full spoilers.
Full spoilers for Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. Yes, I think we've been dancing around some specifics here. What do you want to say?
The sequence, the war, the fucking, what's it called? I know what it's called. The war, not war machine. The fuck's the thing?
War rig?
The war rig. Yeah.
Okay.
The war rig. The aerials blew my mind.
Oh, that was incredible. Yeah. That was awesome.
So I don't know if you know this or not. You wonder, is this something practical? Is this something that can happen? Well, yeah, somebody can throw a parachute off the back of a motorcycle and then get pulled into the air to do stuff, and then it goes one step further. Can you get pulled off the motorcycle with a parachute and then put like an airboat motor on the back of your back and then go and like steer and do shit? And the answer to that is yes too. I don't know if you know this or not.
Okay.
On a much darker, terrible, awful thing, But that's how Hamas got into Jerusalem. These motherfuckers had airboat things on the back of their back with paragliders, and they flew in over the the Gaza Wall or whatever they have over there, and flew into Jerusalem like the guys trying to take the war rig.
Okay. Shit. Okay.
Yeah, real thing. Real shit. Real shit happened.
I just assumed that was, even if it could be practically done, was just, for the exercise of making a movie sort of thing.
Legit shit. That's yeah.
Okay.
Fucking bonkers. Anyways, I know that's like a little, we don't, we're here about movies and stuff, but
that's interesting though. That is interesting.
Yeah. I could go on about that. Anyways, but, that whole sequence, 2 months to film that, these people trying to take this war rig. And I thought this whole sequence was like, God, it felt like it was like 20 minutes long. It felt like it was forever.
It's intense. Well, in a good way or a bad way?
In a good way. Totally.
Okay. I was relishing that the whole time it happened.
Yeah.
Like I was
it was
like
a long sequence
when it was happening. Yeah.
And I mean,
extended. Yeah.
There's a lot of really, just the set piece of these motorcycles, like the chase scene in the beginning of the movie, when they take her from the oasis.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just the whole chase sequence through the desert, cool shit. Really well done. I don't know what it is about the desert that lends itself well to being photographed and with
the
dust,
Star Wars, Lawrence of Arabia, Dune, it's just picturesque. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. The choreography, the battle sequences were really cool. Even when it gets really crazy, at the bullet farm. I thought that was still really cool to watch. That's when it starts to get really CG. Even with the war rig, when they tried to take the war rig, I felt like there was some CG blended in there, when it didn't need to be. But overall, these action sequences were just incredible. They were top notch. They're very good. I talked about getting emotional.
Yeah.
What was the end of this movie? Because I almost called him Heath Ledger. My mind is starting to fucking wander. I guess I've had too much wine. I've had half a
few wines. Sure.
There's a couple glasses of wines. Chris Hemsworth character. He comes off as just a mad fucking guy, right?
Right.
And he is a mad guy. At the same time, he's almost like a character that feels like he has to be this way, in order to survive, he's not like nipple rubbing, you know what I mean? Like the other guy.
Sure.
He lost his family, he lost his kids, and he tortured Furiosa and the other guy, the original semi-driver.
Oh right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's just sitting there drinking himself on top of the thing until it gets nighttime, and he's like, all right, let's go fucking home, and he didn't relish that. And he's a conflicted villain, obviously Furiosa she just gets her revenge on him, at the end of the movie.
Right.
Yeah. But, when he's giving his pep talk to the people before they torture Furiosa and the guy, he's like, you can't be soft, and this and that. We have to be hard, and there has to be retribution. So this is what we're going to do. And it's really shitty. It's fucked up, and that's what he does. And he gets his retribution at the end of the movie. But he gets his retribution in a way, she's beating the shit out of him at the end of the movie, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, it's not right. Yeah.
And he talks they talk ad nauseum at the end of the movie. They make this whole long sequence. She kind of tortures him a bit, and she breaks him down,
Well, she's beating the fuck out of him. She's got her mechanical arm at that point. She's just fucking wailing on him.
Yeah, and he kind of like has a seizure at the end of it there for a bit.
Right.
And none of it. I mean, and we know how big of a piece of shit he is throughout the entire movie, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
But none of it felt good. None of it felt, and it's one of those things that really, like, I can't remember the last movie that made you feel bad for like you're losing your humanity. You know what I mean? You're losing. You're not.
Yeah. Right.
It's and I think it did a very, very, very effective job of that. And then right there at the end, he's talking about we're the same, and I lost everybody too, and blah 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 blah. And that's the part that I got choked up in. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, he's not good. He's definitely bad. But the entire end sequence there was just very, very heavy, and like the cartoon cover up of a character was suddenly gone. You're left with the man, and
all right, yeah,
and it was fucking raw. It was very good, and like I said, hats off to Anya Taylor-Joy and Hemsworth, because Anya Taylor-Joy has incredible performances. I think that Chris Hemsworth's are a little bit more, you kind of like have to pick in between his movies and stuff.
Yeah, a little more straight-laced, again, basic leading man sort of things.
Exactly. But this is the performance, I think, I think this is one of the best performances, if not the best performances that I've seen him in.
It just requires a lot more range, and
he got it. I mean, he took a cartoon-esque character
muscles he doesn't get a chance to do
throughout the movie. Somebody that's like, just, he's a cartoon bad guy, right? Like, you don't like him and everything else, and he's getting his nipples ripped off and this and that. He's just fucking crazy.
It seems horrible. And he's like pretty chill about that. I mean, under the circumstances, I think that would be very upsetting for most people.
Yeah, right. But at the end of the movie,
there's something a little bit more raw underneath all of the bluster and ready, steady, all that shit.
Yeah. And I thought the end of this movie it really stuck the landing until it,
lady and gentlemen,
until it didn't end.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, because then it kind of keeps going from there. Is that? Yeah. Okay. So I feel like we talked a little bit earlier about there's parts where it feels like it's trying to do too much Fury Road.
So this happened a couple times. The first time was when Furiosa got caught, and then Mad Max is overlooking it.
I was fine with that. It was kind of was
that Hardy's Mad Max, or was that Mad Max 2?
Well, I mean, theoretically they're the same, although not. I mean, the continuity is kind of fucky. So, I mean, presumably it is the Hardy Mad Max, obviously.
That's not where he squashed the lizard, though, right? Because he got chased off.
I don't think so. Well, because his hair is short there, too, and his hair is fucking long and scraggly in the beginning of...
Okay.
Well, and another interesting thing is there's this whole video game, which I think you remember that?
Yeah, I remember when it came out, but I never played it.
But so that came out around the time that Fury Road came out, and it's apparently based off of notes that George Miller had, and it was intended to kind of be a pseudo prequel to the events of Fury Road. And I think George Miller has come out basically being like, I wasn't really thrilled with that video game. And I think it's probably because the development team probably just took his notes and ran and did their own thing without his. It's like one of those things people make shit about your baby without you involved, and you're like, well, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's probably how George Lucas feels about watching Star Wars these days. It's just like, I wouldn't have done it that way, but whatever, man, but he still feels, a certain way about these things. I think that was supposed to, the game is supposed to kind of lead into, I don't know. I think it is supposed to be some amount of, because I think I have to remember the exact timeline of the movie to be fair, but the movie kind of bleeds directly into the point of where Fury Road begins, more or less, with Furiosa starting her run, taking the wives away from the Citadel. But there's clearly a transition point where Anya Taylor-Joy must become Charlize Theron. So there must be a time jump of some sort, but we don't really see that clearly.
And you see her taking the women and put her in the bus.
Right.
But she doesn't look like Charlize Theron. She looks like...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It and the way that it's edited, it kind of just feels like, all right, Furiosa has had this confrontation with Dementis. She's gone back to the Citadel. She turns him into a tree. No big deal, and and then like the next day, the way that it kind of plays is like, all right, time to get the wives out of here. And it feels like a weird jump because it feels like in Furiosa, or in Fury Road rather, she's been doing fucking runs for Immortan Joe and the Citadel for like a decade or whatever at that point. And like, we don't really get that sense. Like, clearly she does runs with Praetorian Jack, who's the guy, in this movie. And they kind of very quickly jump over that. Like, they meet and he's like, I like you, I'll train you. And then the next time we see those two characters, are like, you've learned everything there is to know. Like, well, when the fuck did that happen? Like, there's clearly a time jump of some sort. So I feel like some of the time jumps are really kind of quite unclear here. So it's like, she killed Dementis and then she's doing 5 years and then she finally gets sick of Immortan Joe shit and then Fury Road happens? Or is it the way it plays here is very, very compressed almost, and it feels wonky,
and it doesn't need to feel that way.
And I just think there's like the little things, and like so much of what the marketing was focused on is like, she's shaving her head, she's got the grease paint, she's got a metal arm now, and it's like, it didn't need everything. It didn't need everything to be laid completely bare of how she starts to look like the Furiosa that we see, because she's wearing the outfit at the end, and it's like, that's where it feels a little more hokey in terms of its prequel territory, where it's just like, this is the origin story for, it's like when Xavier got an origin story for why he was bald in Apocalypse, and it's like, what? I
don't need that.
What are we doing? Like, who cares? Like, he fucking went bald at some point. People go bald, it's fine.
Here.
Right. It's, like that's kind of where it gets a little sloppy and a little like, all right, I mean, come on, in terms of that sort of territory. And I just didn't think it, like, I think you could end this movie. And honestly, it almost goes to a certain point. Like, the credits I thought were weird too. Like, because it kind of just shows clips from Fury Road throughout the credits, and it's weird.
Oh, see, I left immediately.
So throughout the credits, it's just straight up clips from Fury Road playing like over the credits.
That's weird.
And I'm like, credits are a great opportunity, especially like in the past like decade. I feel like a lot of movies have embraced like the end credit, like the art of the opening credits has been mostly lost because we kind of gloss over that. And this does it like Fury Road had a good opening credit sequence. This one kind of emulates it, giving you like the little setup of the world and stuff, getting you Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, credited, and then it jumps into things. Title card, move into things. And a lot of end credits these days, like you get like kind of really cool art and stuff, and the end credit sequence is literally just like a summary of Fury Road, and it's like, yeah, I've seen it, and it's like, for the people that haven't seen it, this is not how you want them to see impactful moments from Fury Road. It was weird, and like, I don't need a post credits mid credit sequence of Charlize Theron popping back up 10 years later. Like, what you could have done is have this whole, I don't know. I don't think you needed to get into this handoff. The handoff didn't need to be here because we already know the story of Fury Road. We know there's a point where Furiosa has had enough of this and is ready to take, these women back to the Green Place. She knows about her home, the Green Place. We see it here. She wants to take them back there, and that's the setup of Fury Road. It's enough to, I think, leave this in a place where, she knows that she wants to get back home at some point. But for now, she's basically just going to be, at the Citadel until she can bide her time, bide her time until the events of Fury Road can take place. I didn't need the direct handoff. It felt a little clunky, especially because the casting feels weird, because it just feels like Anya Taylor-Joy just magically morphs into Charlize Theron as soon as they jump into the war rig together. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we see Anya Taylor-Joy's face in that last sequence. I can't remember. Like, I think it maybe is just shot from behind in a way that it's like, oh, this is now the Charlize version of the character.
Well, she does the Charlize. She has her voice in one part.
Yeah, I thought so too. I didn't know for sure.
Her voice, and then she turns around and it's her.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you don't need to tie it like this.
Like they're trying to do the handoff in like this way. And it's like, it's kind of almost like the AI thing. It's just like, we can't just have two actors that look a little bit different from each other convincingly be the same character. They must look the same way, that we have to use AI technology to make them look the same way. And it's like, all right, fine. You want to play with technology, have fun. And, and it's kind of interesting. And as long as it's well done and not fucked up looking, it's fine. But here it's wonky because it just didn't work as well.
Yeah, you don't need to do it. Just fucking end the movie 10 years before she becomes Furiosa for the,
Exactly, and that's
and that's okay.
Like we as an audience will understand. She doesn't look if she looks like Charlize, and Charlize, may I say, looks fantastic.
Yeah,
obviously.
Absolutely. Bald hair or not.
But is definitely older than Anya Taylor-Joy, and so there's an implicit understanding that if this character, who once looked like Anya Taylor-Joy at the end of the last movie, now looks like Charlize Theron at the beginning of this movie, being Fury Road, this character is older. That is an understanding I think that most audiences can reconcile, even if they're watching it. And if for whatever reason you're starting with Furiosa, you've never seen Fury Road. When you start Fury Road, you can probably recognize, oh, this is that chick that's bald with the grease paint and the metal arm, but she looks a bit older because she's a different actor now, so she looks a bit older. This must take place later. Like, yeah, okay, Mad Max in the beginning of this movie. We saw a guy with that fucking car in the last movie, and he had short hair, and now he's got long hair and scraggly fucking beard and shit. God. Maybe time has passed, So it's like, all right. So I think it was very clunky, and it's just unnecessary at the end of the day, where it's just like trying to get almost too cute with like how it's trying to do things, and it's just not really servicing what the movie up until that point really is. Because it is kind of just, that's the point where it's just like, hey, remember, this is a Fury Road prequel. Whereas if you cut it off at the point of Dementus being a tree, it stands on its own, and it absolutely still does everything that it does to enhance Fury Road, but it feels more like its own independent, complete package. So
my question to you.
And also it's a little shorter. So, pacing and editing and tightening wise, you're probably better off. What's your question?
My question to you is, did she shoot Dementus? Did she torture him?
What did she do?
Torture is twice.
Turn him
I feel
into
like he would not turn into a tree. He would just die of like infection and shit, right? So
yeah, that feels a little bit more historian being his record of history is probably not fully accurate. All his tattoos are probably not quite there.
Chrome boys, he's taking some of the chrome.
Yeah. I think she might have just beat the shit out of him.
Just beat him up. Maybe he died. Maybe he died when he had the seizure.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like that metal arm. That's gotta pack a pretty mean punch. A few good. Yeah, a few good hits from that. I think he's done for. So I think that because Furiosa. I mean, let's be honest. She's a character whose name is Furiosa. She might have been furious enough to beat the shit out of him. So that's probably what I would pick. I think a gun's too easy. I don't think she's gonna just shoot him, and end his life that easily. I think, even if it is not as satisfying as she wants it to be, I think that just pummeling him until she's physically drained and had enough, and he's dead. Basically, I think that's probably where.
I don't think she dragged him behind that fucking car. Like he.
She could have done that too.
Like he did to her.
Yeah.
Praetorian
that's
Jack,
true.
Yeah?
Little poetic justice sort of thing. Yeah, that's true because she definitely had
and
there's a clear
he ripped her arm off.
Kinship
he's hanging her
with
by
Jack.
her arm. She just fucking rips it off at some point.
See, that's the thing where it's like that's an origin story thing where I'm like, all right, it's interesting enough because it's like we know that she has this metal arm in Fury Road, so it's like, all right, does this movie explain how she fucking lost her arm? Of course it did, and it does. But it's interesting because I feel like it almost did it in a way that it didn't expect to, because she's got the star map or whatever on her arm. And so to me, it's always like okay, well, someone's going to be asking questions about that. And she's going to have to cut that fucking arm off so that people can't find the green place. And it didn't end up going that way. She just kind of got fucking crushed, and then obviously,
oh dude, that
just let it rip off.
Her arm, and she didn't say anything.
Oh yeah,
she just keeps driving.
Yeah, well,
I'd be fucking screaming.
Adrenaline's a hell of a thing. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. She could have dragged him.
Post-apocalyptic world, I'd be fucked up.
No, it wouldn't do very well. It's the Northman conversation all over again. Wouldn't do very well in this world. No, probably die pretty quickly. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. I don't have the personality type. You got to be a real fucked up sort of thing, or like a real survivalist kind of guy to thrive.
You would be a good history man.
I could be the historian. I could do the historian sort of role.
Especially because you're just
like, no one's going to question you if you're wrong. You're like, you like just fucking back it up, man. Like, yeah, and this is what happened. He fucking, she told me directly that he got turned into a tree.
What's that guy called?
Organic mechanic.
You're a history man. Enrique's an organic mechanic.
That's right.
That's funny shit.
All right. Well, what else is there to say about Furiosa and spoilers? Rictus Erectus is a real pedophile sort of guy.
Yeah,
not great. Not great, Bob.
Catcher. Just too quick.
Mary Jabasa, the badass mother. The green place. The green place is real before it turns into fucking swampland or whatever.
Oh, dude, the mom is such a badass.
She's badass, fucking sniping and shit.
Through the desert, just sniping off people one by one. They're terrified. They don't turn around and try to confront her. She just they keep running.
They just gotta get out of here. Keep going. Yeah, that was good.
One Eye's in this too. Before he loses both eyes. The guy from the second one, the guy from Bullet Farm, isn't it?
Oh yeah. The Bullet Farmer's in it. Immortan Joe is back, sort of. It's a new actor taking on the role.
Nailed it.
Lost Yuki's bird. I think it was great.
You are awaited. It's like,
Valhalla.
Yeah, just fucking.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like, because it's interesting because this is obviously everyone's a bit younger, so you can kind of get away with recasting sorts of things.
Definitely.
But I'm like, I do think that you could watch this movie and not realize that it's different actors for even the Immortan
Nailed
Joe.
it.
I thought it was good. The voice, the presence, the look was all there. And it's an interesting bit of double casting because Lucky Hume, who plays him, also played the one-eyed lieutenant for Dementis, the guy with the fucking like crazy like permed out hair.
The guy with the permed out hair, the long hair one-eyed guy.
Yeah. That was the same actor as Immortan Joe, which is like,
oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay.
Right, you couldn't place that. And also Chris Hemsworth's wife pulls a double role in this too. Elsa Pataki, she plays the Vuvolini woman who like is like talks with the mother, and then the mother goes off, with the motorcycle.
That's Chris Hemsworth's wife. Okay,
that's Chris Hemsworth's wife, and she also plays one of Dementis's, like the woman with like the fucked up face, who's like
the
crazy.
one that's all clawed up.
Yeah,
like the one that when like they pulled that guy apart.
Yes, in the beginning when they have. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And I definitely thought, I was like, I am pretty sure that is the same actor. Are we getting like a secret, like plot twist where like that is, the woman from the beginning? And I was like, no, it's just George Miller and his double casting. He likes double casting people.
Was the woman with the maggots really Furiosa's mom?
Not as far as I know, but maybe. I don't know.
Let's see here. Well, I'm not actively looking that up. I'm looking up Chris Hemsworth's wife, to be honest with you.
Oh, have fun. That's a good thing to do, in your spare time.
What'd you think about that? What'd you think about that sequence with the flamethrowers? And it was at Bullet Town.
Okay.
It was like the thing that they centered all the marketing material off of. This is when like Furiosa's hiding behind the gate.
Oh, right.
With their shotgun. I
thought it was a pretty good sequence overall, because that's the part where like the war rig is like kind of going off, and then you have Dementis is up in the tower and stuff, right? And the bullets come flying out.
And he's got the rocket launcher, and he throws that guy up, and I
thought it was a really cool sequence overall. I mean, I don't know.
So did I. CG was a little crazy. What are you going to do?
There were pockets of that did feel less practical than like the war rig sequence, which felt very practical. But yeah, and overall, I think every set piece in this movie was well done, even if it did look, at times had that CG aesthetic to it. I think they were distinct enough. Generally, like the Warrig one is the most Fury Road-esque, but the other set pieces were very non-Fury Road, but also very well done in and of themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, the desert chase, the Warrig one, obviously, but yeah, the bullet farm sequence, And I guess a little bit at the end, but yeah, I don't know.
One part that could have totally been excised from the movie is like the 40-year Wasteland War.
The 40-day war, yeah.
What the fuck is that?
It's kind of montagey and kind of doesn't, yeah.
Like, why?
I do think that the confrontation between Furiosa and Dementis at the end is obviously very important, and I think that's a good end point and the resolution of that storyline. But there were kind of bits towards the end, again, especially when it's trying to get too close to like what Fury Road's tackling, that I'm kind of just like, all right, okay,
Yeah.
And I think part of that is just the the pacing of this movie it feels 2.5 hours long.
It does feel long.
That's not an absurd length, obviously, for a movie. And I think for something that like this is as plot heavy as it is, like it covers a lot of territory, and I think you kind of need a probably longer than Fury Road run time to capture all of that, in the proper way. But it is probably a hair too much in terms of length and information that it's trying to give you. And like, I didn't mind that, but it's kind of just like, this is clearly not that important because we're getting like a 2-minute montage of this shit. And it's like, okay, so I don't know. All right. Any other thoughts for you on spoilers?
No, I totally agree with you. It played a lot longer than what it actually was.
Yeah. Praetorian
I'm trying
Jack,
to think though.
cool guy.
The war machine thing was totally awesome. Bullet Town, the part that made me cry. Not cry. The cry is excessive.
A tear.
I had a tear.
Just one lonesome tear.
Heartfelt moment. Halfway hoping that you get the guy that played the original guy, the original truck driver, Jack.
Yeah.
Halfway wanting Jack. I kind of like want a Mad Max prequel with Jack.
You could do that. You could do it with Jack. Yeah, Jack. I thought Jack was cool. I like Jack.
Jack was a total badass.
His parents were like
soldiers.
stoic.
He's noble, and yeah, I thought Jack would be Jack.
Yeah, one of the few people in the Mad Max-averse who obviously is working for a shitty dude in Morton Joe, who's just like, I'm just surviving out here, man. Like I'm a good dude. Like I recognize the potential of this stowaway, and being like,
Jack
I see potential in
shit.
you.
He doesn't get any shit, really. I mean,
Yeah.
He says, "I'm not leaving here without your shit."
Yeah.
And then Chris Hemsworth's like, "Let me get you out of here." Now, that was a little bit of an Arnold, but
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
So I mean, I don't really have anything else. I thoroughly enjoyed it. More than I thought I was. I thought this was.
I agree. I think. Yeah. As an overall kind of end thought, it's way better than, again, most prequels are, and way better than a prequel to Fury Road sounds on paper. Like that sounds like, I don't need that. I didn't ask for that, and like that's still true, but like it's still very good, and I think worthwhile. I think it justifies its own existence. It's not perfect. It's not Fury Road, but hey, it does its own thing for the most part, and that is honestly good enough. It really does enough, I think, to stand on its own a little bit, while still feeling very much part of the Mad Max. It's called Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, which is still a dumb shit title. I hate when they do that shit, but it is what it is. It's fine. Fury is born.
It's never going to change.
Yeah, marketing could have been better. Even this poster on Wikipedia, the main poster, I'm like,
Marketing could no doubt have been better, for sure.
Yeah, it kind of failed this movie. Certainly in terms of the box office, I think we can probably lay the blame at the feet of the marketing, I think, for the most part. I mean, it's reviewed well, and people, I think, overall seem to like it, but it is like all of the response is like a surprise. It's like, it was good. I'm shocked. And it's like, that's not what you want. Like, you'd think that a fucking follow-up to one of the greatest action movies of all time is like, oh, it's going to be a high bar, but like, if anyone can do it, it's George Miller. And like, oh, fuck, this looks really good. And it's like, yeah, he did it. He did. The son of a bitch did it again. It's just like, wow, I'm surprised the son of a bitch did it again, because it looked like he fucking lost his touch, based on what we had seen. And it's just like, that's not really the response you want. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not our fault, but it's fucking WB, man. Big surprise. So anyway, yeah, that's what I got on Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. to really put the button on that one.
Wait till you have a baby and start watching fucking Bluey.
Bluey. Well, speaking of, perhaps, did you want to? I mean, I do have a slight listeners' corner. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, what do we got?
To you.
And then corner. Drop it over.
All right. I know. We were trying to be done with this episode sooner than we are right now, but I don't want to push things, obviously. Bruce Brown's back. No more YouTube comments this time. Sorry to report on that front. Oh, well, don't let him hear you say that. He sent a couple thoughts on some things. The Iron Claw. He watched the Iron Claw. It's the Zac Efron wrestling movie, A24. Did not expect much at all, but actually very good. Even Mom would like it, and that would be my mother that he's referring to. Wow. So I think it's on Max. So I think it's streaming on Max, which is how anyone can watch that. And 2 shows he recommended called Space Shuttle Columbia, The Final Flight. This is also on Max. Very good 4-part documentary on what happened, why, background into the crew and mission. And he had some little personal commentary. These type of events still stick out in my mind. I was at the Little League fields on a Saturday morning when the Columbia went down. 21 years since the disaster, so I would have been 9 at the time. He says he still clearly remembers watching the Challenger launch on TV in 1986 and listening to the radio in his office when the first plane hit the World Trade Center, 9/11. So, kind of, interesting things that you live through these sorts of things. Other thing that you watched on Amazon is Blue Angels. Documentary into what it's like to get accepted into the Blue Angels, how you have to train for the mission, perform, however many shows on the road every week for 8 months of the year. Sound from the documentary, it sounds like they're gone about 11 months of the year from home with minimal time back home. Precision communications from the commanding officer of the squadrons, the pilots, it's pretty impressive. And he said it's just pretty insightful into what it takes to put together that precision flying. Notes that they have lost 28 Blue Angel pilots since the inception of the program. Blue Angels, I think they put out in like a limited theatrical release recently.
After Top Gun?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's like, exactly. I think literally... It's produced by Glenn Powell, who obviously was on Top Gun. Produced by J.J. Abrams as well. So yeah, I think it literally was like after Top Gun. It's like, why don't we fucking do like a little doco about this shit? It sounds cool. They put it in IMAX, but I think it's streaming on Prime now. So
okay. I think I might actually watch that.
It's like an hour. It's like an hour and a half doco. It's not long. It's not like some long extended documentary series. It's just an in and out documentary film, which is pretty cool sounding. So anyway, that's what we have in the listeners' corner. But I want to hear from you. You got Argylle. You got a cruise. You got a baby. What do you got, man? You got some things lined up over there. Clearly.
So my baby turned 1 year old, 5/31 at
1 year old. Oh my goodness!
At 9 p.m. I believe it was on Friday.
Okay,
5:31, 9 p.m. Right. Anyways, little fella turned 1 year old. So you probably know this, but Sarah comes from an extensive family. She's got a lot of family. It is among the tightest group of people that I've ever seen.
Yes, very close family. Yes, I've definitely seen that from afar, but yes.
It's incredible. It is, as someone who has a fairly limited kind of family.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that it's really something special to be a part of, to be honest with you. And just kind of fills you with a little bit of emotion that, I get to, have a baby that's kind of gets to experience that kind of family. Because people are flying in from Texas, people are flying in from North Carolina, people are just all over the place. People are coming up, Sarasota, Florida, there's a lot of Florida people, but Texas, as far west as Texas and as far north as North Carolina, people have come to celebrate Baby B's birthday. His first birthday. And then friends, of course, Sarah and I talked about this. There's a lot of I don't know. I feel like it's really easy in today's environment to get really shitty on people. You know what I mean? It's really easy to focus on the worst of just people in general. We're just exposed to a lot and all the time, and it's really easy to be negative about everybody in general. And then something like, you know, like a 1-year-old's birthday, man, just like strangers from the car lot, people that I sold cars to, they brought presents for the baby on his first birthday. You know, it's like, man, you know, we're like surrounded by really good people all the time. And me in particular, I get really negative about it. And it's important for me to remember that I think mostly people are probably pretty decent. I think mostly people are pretty good. And it's just, we surround ourselves with a lot of negativity. And so, I think what I learned from my baby's first birthday is that I am incredibly fortunate to be surrounded and have the friends I have and the family that I have and the family Sarah has and the family that the baby has. We're incredibly fortunate to be surrounded by the people that we're around all the time. It was just a very good experience. And then we left and went on a cruise. And the cruise was fun. We went on a Carnival cruise
where'd you go?
Princess K's and Nassau. Both those places are... I didn't get off the boat at Nassau, and I got off the boat at Princess K's. It's just a beach in the Bahamas, and we sat in the water, and I got sunburnt. I could do that in Florida. It was
white people.
It wasn't anything too crazy. Now the people on the cruise got a little crazy.
So who you were cruising with? You were cruising with Sarah and baby, obviously.
I was cruising with Sarah, baby, right? Sarah's cousin from North Carolina, her 2 kids, and Sarah's aunt from North Carolina, and me and the baby.
Okay.
So, and Sarah's mom. Of course, Sarah's mom was there too. So we kind of like rotated baby duty. I got a couple casino nights, which was pretty good. I was actually very proud of my casino skills. I did a very effective money. Yeah, I did an effective job of maintaining the money that I had spent. Okay. I was up, and then I started to get down, and then I got aggressive, and I went back up, and I felt like I knew what I was doing. Apparently, people were inspired because they were asking me what they should do, and I was like, "Hey, you fucking people, you don't ask me, okay?" And I thought that was pretty funny. I also I was inspired by a couple of people I was sitting with to try a new drink called Hennessy.
Okay.
And I sipped some Hennessy, and
you a fan now?
It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty smooth.
All right.
You know, and I think my eye ended up probably rolling up because they told me I needed to lay off the Hennessy. That was.
Oh man, this guy's had too much alcohol. This fucking guy's
his eyes looking at the ceiling. It was really fucking funny, dude. It was hilarious. Anyways, I have a good time on cruises. They're really fun. So we get back, and Sarah immediately leaves to go to her brother's graduation. So my brother-in-law has graduated from college. He is taking I'm really floorboard to be saying that my brother-in-law is a minor league baseball player in Michigan now.
Nice.
So he's playing minor league ball. He's taking a job as a pitcher.
He's already started with that?
So he graduated today. They're packing him up tomorrow, and then the coach from the minor league team that is picking him up is picking him up in Ohio and driving him back to Michigan, which is pretty neat.
Nice.
So now he's getting paid to play baseball, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I think 60 people have come out of this league since 2016 to become, MLB players. So I think that ultimately that's everybody's goal, I believe, is to
Right.
eventually be there.
Make it to the big leagues, sure.
But at the end of the day, right now he's getting trained by people. Now he's getting trained by professionals to play baseball, which is it's pretty awesome. He's getting paid to do it, and
that doesn't sound like a bad gig at all.
Not
obviously,
at all.
Hard work. You need to have the talent, obviously, to make it. But that's cool.
Yeah. So he graduated.
I floundered out about 16 years old. I couldn't do it. So
couldn't be more proud of him. So that's really cool. I also watched the Star Wars Acolyte.
Oh yeah.
Star Wars
2-episode premiere. Sure.
I watched that actually in between our Furiosa or our Fury Road and Furiosa.
All right. And what are your early thoughts on the Acolyte thus far?
It's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I think it's. We'll see where it goes. Right? Like
we got what 6 episodes to go, I think. So
yeah, I think it does really cool things. I think it does awesome things. But
does it feel like a different flavor of Star Wars than what we've seen before?
For sure.
Okay. Yeah.
You have like a try-hard, you got kind of like a try-hard Padawan,
Okay.
And I don't know. It seems like new Star Wars. It seems the choreography is really cool. The way the Force is used is really cool, and I think it can go really awesome places. I'm just trying to temper expectations because I don't want to get overexcited.
It could go any number of ways. It's too early to tell, perhaps.
Exactly. Magic the Gathering. I've got all my cards categorized, or not categorized. I got them all like in a program to where I can search stuff.
Cataloged, I guess.
Cataloged, exactly. Which is exciting. Modern Horizons 3, which is the newest. Like Magic the Gathering, they do like periodic drops, like quarterly throughout the year. The newest one is Modern Horizons 3. I was really excited about it because they have these creatures called Eldrazi, and that's like a big staple for this drop that they're doing. And these Eldrazi are like these interdimensional beings. They're kind of like Lovecraftian horror beings, which is really cool. They're like and they're big cards and they're just really cool. So, anyways, that's a big staple in this drop. I went and got some this weekend. I finished archiving or whatever my cards, and so they're all where they need to be for the first time ever. So that's really cool. And I think that might Argylle.
Okay, so we got to check back in on Argylle. How did you feel about Argylle? I mean, were you let down by how little screen time Henry Cavill had with his fucking hair?
So they have this. They don't have a proper movie theater inside the cruise ship. I didn't get on that cruise.
Okay.
I wish I had a cruise like that. That would be very cool.
So what's the setup for this then? Like,
there's a big screen.
Okay.
And then everybody's like on the top deck, on the Lido deck, in the pool and the jacuzzis and stuff, and they can watch the movie. Loudspeakers. It's not a projection. It's like an LED screen. It's pretty old. You can tell it's pretty old. But I watched probably not all of Argylle. I didn't get to watch all of it.
Did you watch enough? Did you watch enough of Argylle?
I watched enough to know that it's probably not the best movie.
Well, I think it's on Apple TV now, so you could really finish it at home if you really, really wanted to.
I think if we get out of here, well, it's 11:40. Probably won't get out of here.
Maybe tomorrow.
Enough to watch anything, but
maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. It's not the best movie. I tell you what, that I was impressed with though. I watched the entirety of Trolls.
World Tour. I don't know. I feel like there's different Trolls. That's the only one I can think of that has a subtitle.
I think it's like 2. I think it's either 2 or 3.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, just had a number.
Well, I don't know if it's Trolls 2 or 3. It's got a subtitle, I think, but I can tell you.
Trolls Band Together. That's what one looks like.
I think I watched that one. Yeah, it's probably that one. Trolls 3. Does it have? Yeah, it's got Justin Timberlake. Camille. Yeah, I watched that one. Trolls Band Together. And it was totally all right, dude.
All right.
I watched the entirety of that one at the pool. Baby was jamming. He does like.
He liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Baby stands up now, by the way. He's not walking yet, but he stands up. He claps. He points. He says, Dad.
He's telling you how he feels about things, you know?
Yeah. And I have to say, I think that's probably about it on the entertainment front.
All right.
Yeah.
Back to work, back to sort of normal life.
Went back to work. Went back to
wife
work
and baby
yesterday.
are away for now, but we'll be back soon, hopefully, and then it's just business as usual.
That's it. Time to make some money and pay for the cruise and pay for these magic cards, and
ain't gonna pay for themselves.
They're not exactly.
I mean, it'd be better if they did, but you know. All right. Well, I'm gonna check in with what I've been up to. I'm gonna try to keep this on the shorter side of things for myself, but we'll see how it works out. I did want to check back in on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and the reason for that is, and the reason I waited to do it now is because I wanted to wait because I was going to do something a little bit spoilery. When I edited that episode, I realized there were things that I walked into that episode wanting to say that I never actually said out loud.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, oh, shit. And so I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. I'll throw it in on the next episode. And so here we are. So light spoilers for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes for anyone that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, cares about that sort of thing. I really enjoyed the callback of the first time that May opens her mouth and says something. She says, Noah, and it felt like a very good riff on the Caesar no. I thought that was clever, but well done. So wanted to make that note. I also wanted to note that my real fun fact that I thought that I came to the table prepared with, and then when we were actually ready to record, I blanked and couldn't remember what the fun fact was, and I looked at something on Wikipedia and I was like, yeah, that was it. I wasn't going to talk about that. It wasn't what I wanted to actually say. So my real fun fact for that episode is that Wes Ball, who is the director, I think mentioned that on the Blu-ray, 4K, whatever, they're going to put out, they're going to have it available as a feature that you can watch the movie without the CG on top of the performers. You can watch the whole movie with just everyone in their fucking mocap suits.
No.
And that sounds awesome. Again, it's we talked about with Fury Road. I'm like, well, am I going to watch this in black and white and, in silent?
What type of feature is
it'd be kind of cool. That sounds fucking nuts. That sounds awesome. Again, do I want to watch 2.5 hours of a movie that looks like fucking ridiculous assholes walking around in mocap suits? No, probably not. But for a 5-minute clip or someone to do a super cut on YouTube, that sounds incredible. So I think it's really fun and really cool. So anyway, that was my fun fact that I meant to bring to the table and forgot to. But anyway, we're gonna switch gears and talk about things that I've been up to with Anna. As my next segment of the podcast, on my catching up section here. We watched The Empire Strikes Back, which is really good. There's not much to be said on that front. I would have talked about it obviously on our 5 favorite films episode that we did, many episodes ago. It's a fantastic film. It is one of my top 5 still, and it is there for a reason. But on the other side of things, there's the things when you're married and you watch things that you probably wouldn't have watched if you weren't married.
Oh, I watched so many things that I would not watch if I was married.
Exactly. So 27 Dresses made its way onto Disney Plus. It just happened to be on the TV in front of me. It's because she wanted to put it on.
Okay.
And so I watched 27 Dresses. That's Katherine Heigl, James Marsden. I think it's a pretty, at this point, sort of classic rom-com deal, where she's the perpetual bridesmaid and James Marsden's like a love cynic and stuff like that.
She
and
totally
she's in love with her
left
boss.
fucking Grey's Anatomy and just went on.
Is she gone? Is she? I would say I don't know where this fits in the Grey's timeline. If this is, she's too good for Grey's and now she's doing movies because she fucking falls off a cliff. Her whole career falls off a cliff at a certain point.
Yeah,
and I don't know exactly
what is she doing now.
She's done a couple TV shows here and there, but she hasn't done shit. She did Knocked Up, 27 Dresses and stuff like that, and then boom, gone.
Is it because she aged? Do you think it's an age thing for women?
Possibly. I mean, that's probably not. I mean, it's probably part of it. She was on Suits for a couple seasons, but seasons 8 and 9 looks like Firefly Lane. Is that a Netflix show? I don't know, but I feel like her career definitely kind of took a nosedive at a certain point. I mean, she's good though. I mean,
she's good in a lot of those chick flicks,
might be good
those late 2000 chick flick movies.
Totally. When she was kind of at her height. Yeah, in terms of her film career, she's good.
Same thing in Grey's Anatomy. She did a good job in Grey's too. So it's
and then
bizarre
she
to
left
see her
Grey's
drop
after
off.
a few seasons or whatever. I don't know, but 27 Dresses was not great, but like, entertaining for what it is, and I had fun with it. Breezy, good cast, and and just kind of just overall sort of fun sort of thing. So I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I'll admit to that. I'll admit to that on the record. I don't mind. But other than that, the two that she's been really watching, and I just dip in and out of because I'm either in the room or I get sucked in by these things. Bridgerton's number one. She's been watching. She watched the first 2 seasons of Bridgerton, and I missed most of the first season. I checked in here and there, and I like watch it for 5 minutes, and I ask questions, and then I get sucked into it a little bit, and then I miss like 3 episodes, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore. I don't really care. That's like fine. I see the appeal of it. It's like it's on Netflix. I think there's a new season or new part of season 3 coming out soon. It's a big deal. People love it. People eat it up based on a series of books. Sarah watched Bridgerton. She on that train?
No, this is Little Bear.
No, that's Paddington. Bridgerton's like the
I can look it up real quick. No need
like,
to
I don't know if Victorian era is the right.
I was reading about Peyton List.
No, yeah, no.
What is it? Paddington?
1800 Bridgerton, 1800s alternative London Regency era.
I guarantee that Sarah does most definitely not watch this shit.
Yeah, so it's like period stuff, but it's like it's like romance forward. Like it's total rom-coms. Yeah. Not really rom-com, but like romance, just straight up romance, not really even.
Do they wear funny clothes?
They wear funny clothes. It's definitely.
Do they talk kind of funny a little bit?
No, it's like modern because it's like the idea is basically it's not a bunch of white people. It's like a society where people of all ethnicities are welcomed and part of society. So like the queen is a woman of color, and
historical
like
fiction.
Yeah, it was a little bit of historical fiction. Yeah, but it's based off like a popular book series, I think.
Okay.
About this kind of noble family and the high society and everything. But it's pretty entertaining. It's popular on Netflix. It's very popular on Netflix, the series is. So she's been enjoying that. I gotta say, I've been sucked a little bit into this new season of Love Is Blind, the most recent season 6.
Are you new to the series in general?
Oh yeah, I've never watched any of it prior to this. I have no idea. I've never watched any of the prior seasons. I missed like the first 4 episodes of this season. So I checked in like towards the end of the pods when everyone is kind of matching up, and then I've stayed with it a little bit more regularly through when they're they have to like live together and then like meet each other's families and shit. So I've been a little bit more in tune with that. And it is, to quote, I think the title of the Reset Era thread about this show is "Love Is Blind is pure fuckery," and that is an apt description of this show. Just fucking absolute batshit nonsense.
Do you see the guy?
It is just
the
nuts.
Fucking blonde guy that can't he's got the weirdest smile. You know what I'm talking about? Let me see if I can find him. I'll find
if you give
name.
me a
if
name.
I give you a name, it's been so long since I've seen it.
I know the names. Guy. Well, because the release, the episodes are fucking long as shit. They're like all an hour plus. There's like 15 fucking episodes in a season, and like they release them at like weird intervals. I'm like, what the fuck is this show? Like clearly people love it and like eat it up, and like I get it. It is pretty entertaining. Like it's kind of
Haley and Sarah
trashy nonsense.
The show a lot.
But like I have to acknowledge the entertainment value of it. I underrated it, in the sense that I'm like, fuck, I don't need any of this. There was a point where we talked about this, I think, earlier in the year, and I thought it was the show Sexy Beasts, where everyone puts they put them in the prosthetics.
I haven't seen that before.
It's the same basic concept, kind of, where it's like, like the idea is, can you fall in love with someone without actually really knowing what they look like? But this Sexy Beast is like a 30-minute like little goofy deal. This is
Shane.
Like way too fucking intense in some ways.
Shane Jensen is his name.
Oh, I don't know if he was in the recent season, or if he was, then I don't remember seeing. Like he's not one of the couples that survived the pods anyway. So
you would have known Shane Jensen. I promise.
I don't. It must have been. Yeah, I think he might have been on an earlier season that I didn't watch. Be my guess. But anyway, Love Is Blind is fucking absolute nonsense. So I wouldn't say I recommend it, but I would be lying if I said I hadn't watched way more of it than I ever expected to in my life. So
it's like
nonsense.
Man. I mean, the idea that you can watch people just, I feel like a little bit of me dies inside when I watch these people. You know what I'm saying? It's like
it's like every episode. It's like just people doing dumb shit or like fucking saying dumb shit. The one of the more recent episodes we watched is like when they meet the family, and then they start bringing up weird shit up in front of the family. Like, and I'm like, why are you saying? What are you doing? You know, like why? You know, and I was like, they must get like a per episode bonus. Like if you say weird shit that we're gonna have to give you more airtime, like they must get like cash bonuses for that shit, because otherwise why the fuck would you say that in front of someone?
And then you walk this person all the way to this. You've only been with them for 2 weeks.
Right, yeah, it's so like, silly. Anna asked me like after the yeah, right, and like Anna asked me, it was just like how long do you think they've known each other, because you have the 5 episodes or whatever they're talking to each other in the pause, and I was like, I don't know, like probably like a month. She's like 10 days, and I'm like, oh fucking hell, man. It's just nuts.
And then all their parents are like, you're fucking losing your mind. Are you stupid?
Yeah, everyone's questioning. Like, everyone's just like, okay.
No, you just don't understand. I mean,
I love him. I love him. You know, I love her.
And then he gets you up to the stage.
For 2 weeks, dude.
I'm gone. I can't do this. It's
pure fuckery. It's pure fuckery.
That's what it is. It's fucked up. It's among the most fucked up show I've ever seen.
It's just absurd, man. You got like I treat it as a comedy, and it is incredibly entertaining. You know, I feel bad for some of the people on there. You know, not everyone. Like there's some dipshits on there for sure, but I feel bad for the people that like go into it with the right intentions, and then people are just
they can't find a lover in 10 days.
No, well, yeah, I mean, desperate times, desperate measures. Apparently, that's what leads you to go on Love Is Blind. But anyway,
yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's totally fine.
Anyway, finally for me, I'll check in on the Marvel side of things. Your boy is 1 episode away from finishing the original X-Men the animated series.
You'll finish the rest of it in one night.
I'm down to the finale. I might finish it tonight. I got some clothes to fold. Seems like it's only appropriate to finish it out as a laundry folding show. And then it's on a 97. On the 97, and I will not be folding laundry while I watch 97.
No,
but I probably will be starting it quite soon, and I'm hoping to go through it fairly quickly without binging it necessarily. But I think once I think it's going to get its hooks in me, is how I feel about it. Like I think it'll be a nice revival of that series, modern update and everything. I've obviously heard a lot of good things, and I'm ready to experience the things that you've already experienced and felt, and maybe talk about soon. We'll see if I can get through it.
When you start your first episode, I'd like you to let me know, and I'd like to have the opportunity to try to watch them all again.
Okay, all right, we can do that. Fuck it, yeah.
So I don't know if I can. No promises, but
maybe certain episodes though might we might be more inclined to go back to though.
Yeah. So let me know when you do it, and
I'll keep you posted.
I'll try to start.
We can do that. Okay. Other than that, I finished a book called MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios, which I talked about a little while ago. It's a nonfiction book, basically the gestation of Marvel Studios as like a production company, kind of running through the making of Iron Man, all the Phase 1 movies, the Avengers, and then all the way through Phase 3. I think I forget exactly where it left off, but as far as She-Hulk, I guess, if nothing else, and kind of just, and beyond a little bit. Basically 2023, roughly. It's good. Really enjoyed it. It was my breakfast book. I read it with breakfast, and it was my breakfast book.
Tell me how you do this.
I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, I read the book. I usually eat a bagel and just kind of prop it up at the table and read. Give myself enough time, and I don't know how else to answer that question. But I have replaced it. Once I finished it, I replaced it with
another
the animated series as my breakfast show. I was given the Saturday morning cartoon status of I'd watch an episode of TV in the morning while I ate my breakfast. So I was doing that for a bit.
Am I not getting up early enough? I need to change my fucking lifestyle, dude.
I think that's what it is. Like if you don't have enough time, which is like depending on how early you need to get to work, like that changes the calculus. Because if you got to get up at 6 a.m. to have a breakfast book or a breakfast show, it ain't worth it. Like maximize your sleep.
That's exactly what I got to do.
Yeah, that's not worth it then. You get to shit later on in the day. It's fine. But if you can get up late enough that you have time built in to do shit, then it's not so bad.
It's incredible.
I won't have this job all the time, so it's gonna at a certain point I will not have time for breakfast shows and breakfast books. But anyway, MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios, Joanna Robinson, Dave Gonzales, and Gavin Edwards are the authors on it. Interesting, enjoyed it. For someone like me who is pretty well versed and hip on MCU stuff, I thought it was interesting. I think it would probably add a lot of insights for people that don't read up a lot of that don't go to IMDb trivia sections and stuff like that.
Okay.
But for me, it was interesting. I thought a lot of the stuff leading up to the formation of Marvel Studios and the MCU as we know it, I thought was the most interesting because of like the history of Marvel and
talking about like
off
Avi,
their fucking properties,
whatever his name is.
Avi Arad and Ike Perlmutter and all these fuckheads who, in the early days didn't really know what they were doing. Through getting Kevin Feige on board and again turning MCU into the powerhouse that we now know it to be. So it's interesting. Would recommend it for anyone that is interested in this sort of thing, that wants to read a fucking 400-page nonfiction book about Marvel Studios. Like that's a probably pretty limited audience, but I think it's a good version of what that is trying to be.
Okay.
So I'd recommend it. And then I returned that. I had rented that from the library, the free library here in Philly. I returned that, and when I returned it, I picked up the Free Library of Philadelphia. Now offers video games for rental.
For real?
For Philadelphia residents.
What type of world are we living in?
So they have modern. They have PS5. They have Switch games. Like they've got fucking legit shit in there. It's not just some janky ass thing. Like they're all out with a lot of this. So they have like new games and stuff. So I rented a game that has been in my Target saved for later cart for a long, long time called Midnight Suns.
Oh, the card game?
It's a tactical card-based RPG game. Yeah.
XCOM meets Marvel in a card game?
It's literally the developers of XCOM, yes.
Fuck, dude. I you know how many times I've almost bought that game? And I don't even play video games much anymore.
And don't quote me on this, but check it before you go to bed. I think it's free right now on Epic Games Store. So if you have any sort of level of interest in it, you might get sucked in because I think it's a fairly long game if you get into it. But it might be free, so you can at least add it to your library and call it a day and, play it some other time. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It is like it's a blend of like a lot of different games. Like it's XCOM, but the card-based stuff is very Slay the Spire.
Oh my goodness. It's like all the best things.
And it's got this hub world where you build friendships with the other characters, and there's a whole world that you explore. That's very Fire Emblem to me, which I really like.
No offense.
No, I mean totally. But like it's like it kind of like you can kind of ignore most of that stuff. Like once you get to a certain point, it's totally optional. You could ignore all of it and just play it as a full-on tactical RPG. Like it's different from XCOM. There's no permadeath, and the card-based stuff is a very different combat system. Which again makes it more Slay the Spire-esque, but I really, really like it. Like it's Marvel plus a bunch of different gameplay elements that really, really appeal to me. As a gamer.
That was why I was interested in it.
So like as like a PS5 game, like it's a little janky. Like, like graphic wise, it feels like a game that was made 5 years ago, even though it's only like 2 or 3 years old.
How long can you rent this for?
I have it for 3 weeks, but as long as no one places a hold on it, I can extend my rental for it. And like certain games, they have like 2 copies of, and then like this and Gotham Knights and stuff, they have like 30 copies of them. So like there's no one's putting enough holds on these to make a difference. So I could probably rent this long enough to
and when you have to pay to rental at the Philadelphia library?
Nothing. You just got to have a library card. That's all. You got to have a library card. You just need an ID to get a library card. Prove you live in Philly. Dude. That's all. Yeah, so it's cool.
What am I doing in Florida?
And like I said, I put a hold on that Mad Max book that I think I mentioned on the Fury Road episode. I want to read about the making of Fury Road now that I've done the making of all these MCU movies. I want to do Fury Road, a whole fucking book deep dive on Fury Road. That'll be my new breakfast book.
DeSantis is talking down closing down libraries in Florida. You got
you got to burn all the books because you can't let people be educated in the slightest. Otherwise, they won't vote for him. So, make
joking.
people as dumb as fuck.
I actually don't think he's.
You have to raise people to be exclusively educated by Love Is Blind seasons 1 through 6, and then you're good. Then you're solid.
It's almost like they're being educated by Indictus Erectus or whatever.
Rictus Erectus, yeah. Pedophile himself, that's right, yeah. Oh man. Anyway, Midnight Suns. I really like it. I would recommend it.
Do not get addicted to the water.
The water. Good stuff. Really enjoyed it. I probably put 7-8 hours into it, and I will put more into it, I will say.
Yeah, good for you, dude. That's awesome.
I'm at the point now where I'm like, if I have to return it, I'll probably just buy it. I might just buy like a digital version because I think you can get like the Legendary Edition, which has 4 extra characters
you get, like,
and story
the Midnight
missions
Suns,
for those
to be
characters.
clear, is like Doctor Strange and fucking Wolverine.
Oh yeah. So the main the characters that you can play as. So the main character is like a made up character who's the daughter of like a demon. But your allies, you get to pick 3 characters per mission. So you got Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Captain Marvel. The main Midnight Suns team is Nico Minoru from the Runaways, Ghost Rider, which is the Robbie Reyes version, like the one from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Magic, who is Anya Taylor-Joy's character in the New Mutants, where she's got the sword and she can create portals with the sword.
Yeah.
And then I think there's one other person on the team that I'm... Oh, Blade. Blade's on the team as well.
Yeah, so you're picking fucking Blade and Magic and...
And then I just got Spider-Man. I know Wolverine is in the game. Scarlet Witch is in the game. I think there might be other. I think the DLC characters are Deadpool, Venom, Storm, and one other.
How many people can you roll with per mission?
3 per mission. But
including
you can
this
usually choose
made-up character, this character for the game?
For all the story missions, you have to use her or him. It's like you create your own character sort of thing. But for like side missions, you can use any combination of 3. Okay. Everyone's got their own different, like the cards have different effects. Like Ghost Rider is really powerful, but a lot of his cards hurt himself. Doctor Strange has a lot of magic spells that buff other characters, and
support character.
Nico has the Staff of One, so like all of her cards have like a randomized, like every time you draw their cards, they have a different effect.
Okay.
So
yeah. There's a lot of them. Yeah, it's like traditional video game shit, but
yeah, but it's really cool and it's fun. Really I like the card-based stuff. I think the card-based stuff turned a lot of people off. It's not a game I think that sold a lot. Like I think the developer like either closed or like a lot of people got fired after this game came out because it didn't do well. But I really, really liked it. And obviously I guess I'm part of the problem because I'm super late to the party and didn't actually buy it. So, but maybe I will. I mean, it's a game that I think, you can do a light playthrough, you can do a dark playthrough, which I don't think makes a huge difference. Just the types of cards you get as the hunter character, which is the main character, can be either light or dark, and they have different effects. So, you could probably do a multiple playthrough thing of this, but it's not branching story paths or anything kind of like that.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, it's just like XCOM.
Yeah. So anyway, it's cool. Enjoy it. Recommend it. Look forward to playing more of it, and I look forward to saying sayonara on this episode because I think we've done it. We're a little longer than we expected, but that's why we put Fury Road as its own episode. All right, I have been proven right of why Fury Road needed to be a separate episode because otherwise we'd have been here a long time, even longer than we already were. So, with that said, I will say thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/watchreview-repeat. You can get early access to all of our regular episodes, early access, timed exclusive access to our bonus episodes as well. We're speaking of some X-Men stuff. We're going to hopefully do some X-Men bonus episodes about the 20th Century Fox take on the X-Men characters. We'll be doing that. Before long too. But yeah, we're going to try to check back in on those early X-Men movies in preparation for Deadpool and Wolverine next month. But haven't figured out what we're going to do just yet in terms of timing, order, how many per episode, that sort of thing. So we'll figure it out. But stay tuned. Our website is Watch Review Repeat. We are on the socials at WRRPod on Twitter, Facebook.com/Watch Review Repeat, and at Watch Review Repeat on Instagram. Questions, comments, suggestions, send them our way. watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. If you've got something to say, send it our way, I should say. So yeah, for another listener's corner, and you want to be a part of it, send your thoughts on Fury Road, Furiosa. That's not right.
Furiosa.
Fury Road.
It's like the Italian.
Furiosa. Furiosa. Exactly. That's definitely what I was going for. X-Men 97. Yeah, whatever. send some thoughts our way. I'd be happy to talk about that in a future episode. Intro and outro track is Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com, license under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. And yeah, although I have not started it yet, I think because we've got a little bit of a buffer with a long episode here and a bonus episode prior to this, I think it'll be a little while before we record again, and I'm hoping that will give me enough time and space to consume X-Men 97 so that we can talk about X-Men 97, because we don't have a whole lot coming out theatrically in the next little while. It's not like a super duper packed month anyway, so I think we might be able to fit it in. That's my hope anyway. So I think that's what we've got on the horizon. There's probably other things down the road. I think Quiet Place is at the end of the month, so maybe that's something we'll catch later on, but I think we've got a little bit of time. Hitman dropped on Netflix. I do want to watch that. More Glenn Powell goodness, but haven't seen it yet. But, I think things that we can talk about, but I think X-Men 97, I really, really get the impression from talking to both you and Enrique that it is something that is not only worth watching, but probably going to be worth talking about.
That's right. It's very special.
So I'm late to the party, and we'll all be super late to the party by the time we potentially do an episode on it, but I think that it's worthwhile to do so. So that's the plan. That's the plan, my man. And I need you to go to bed, number one, or number two, but number one, to tell everyone goodbye. Escort them to the gates of Valhalla.
Take care now. Bye-bye then. Goodbye.
All right. Later's on the Menge. See you all in Valhalla.